rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it.
You are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. I am your boy, MJ. Welcome to Trap Talk with MJ, episode 77. What is good, everybody? Hope everyone's having a good fucking day. Miss you guys, man. Feel like I haven't seen you guys in a minute. But before we get started, please do your boy a favor. Hit the subscribe button. Leave me a like, comment, dislike, all the above, man. It would really mean a lot to not only me, but the guests. And yeah, man, you already know what the deal is, especially when it comes to your rodents, right? Shout out to Cold Blooded Cafe, www.coldbloodedcafe.com. Fresh is the best delivered to your doorstep. 30-hour flat rate shipping, the best, period. Shout out to Focus Cube Habitat, Steven and Ashley doing the most over there. Got some really cool stuff in the works. And I can't wait to share with you guys. I'm not going to tell you guys too much, but something really big's on its way, and I can't wait. Shout out to John and Alex over at Sim Container, the Sim Container crew, man, doing big things over there. Make sure you guys go follow them, see exactly what their monitor game's all about, man. I'm telling you right now. But other than that, if you got eggs, they should go inside of a Sim box. Sim Container is where it's at. So shout out to John, shout out to Alex, and then shout out to Jesse. Shout out to the Freedom Breeder crew, man. Stainless steel racks, made in America, man. You cannot beat this. Don't lose value. If you got a Freedom Breeder rack, you know where it's at. Pat yourself on the back. That's the real deal stuff right there. And then shout out to my boy, man, the number one inspiration for me personally, always evolving pythons, my boy Miguel Garcia. If you're not too sure about who Miguel Garcia is and you're in the ball python game or just in the reptile game in general, and this guy does so much, make sure you go check him out, man. Always evolving pythons, one of the biggest YouTubers that are actually doing fucking really cool shit. I'm telling you right now, he's somebody you want to check out. But on top of that, you want to invest in some ball pythons and take your stuff to the next level, that's your man. And if you really want to take your merch to the next level, go check out Herper merch, man. Get your Trap Talk with MJ gear in the link below. And then also go check out, like other Herpers, man. You got Miguel in the building. There's a bunch of big dogs up in the Herper merch website where you could get a bunch of their gear and stuff. It's a bunch of cool stuff. And then you can actually even get Unfiltered Reptile podcast gear there as well. So make sure if you are a part of the Trap Talk with MJ podcast, you got to be following Unfiltered Reptiles podcast with my two big homies, Stephen Cush and Desiree Minot. We always have some cool shit going on over there, man. So link in the description below for that as well. And make sure you guys follow Unfiltered Reptiles podcast on Instagram. A lot of big things coming off. And make sure you go fuck with your boy on TikTok. I'm on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all my early birds. I see you guys, man. There's a bunch of early birds in the building. You guys are awesome. I did get some stuff in the mail. I do want to shout it out real quick because, I want to get to tonight's guest. I'm excited. But shout out, let's see. So this is awesome. The homie Bane, Brian from Bane of My Exotics. I like the packaging because your logo's on it, which is fucking sick. That's great marketing. You could already, obviously see who sent it, all that good stuff. So, dude, really, really good, smart marketing on that. I think it's my first time I've ever seen that. But all right, let's see what we got. Got some shirts here. Oh, all right. So if you're not following my boy Brian, man, make sure you go follow him. Him and his, he has a really cool father, son, daughter thing going, good family thing going on with this brand. So make sure you go check him out, my boy Brian Bane of my exotics, man. Big things popping. We had a really cool episode. Make sure you check out that episode with me and the homie. I got some stickers too. Got some really sick ass stickers. There you go. Hell yeah. Thanks, dog. Appreciate you, man. These are great. All right. So I think I got another one, another sick ass marketing. Here we go. So Abe's Exotics Reptiles. What is good? Let's see, Abe. Let's check out the homie Abe's stuff real quick. All right. You know, black's my color, dog. You know, black's my color. Hell yeah. Follow my boy Abe's Exotics. Abe's Exotics Reptiles. My boy. Check him out. Got some really cool stuff going on. Thanks for the shirt, man. Appreciate it. Oh, we got more stuff. We got stuff in here as well. Oh, what? This will give me money. I'm just kidding. No, some stick-ass stickers and a cool note. I'll get to this in a bit. And yeah, man, thank you. Appreciate this. Hell yeah. All right, cool. Let's see. What is this? I don't even know who this is from. Is this even appropriate? Oh, what? All right. For another thing here. So, speaking of the sponsor, my boy John went ahead and sent me another shirt. He knows how much I fuck with sim container wear. You know what I mean? Like the gear. So, got another sim container shirt for my boy John. Thank you, John. You're my boy. Appreciate you. Sick ass sim container shirt. Just waiting for my hat. Get my hat and I'm straight. I'll be really happy with my hat. Oh, one other box. Wow, what do you know? I got a really special box right here. Not every day I get a box from Lori Barchek. Are you kidding me? What did you send me, Lori? Is it a super? Did you send me the super, Lori? Let's see what's here from the Barcheks. Oh, you sent some stuff to my wife, too, the Lily. All right, all right. Dang, Reptarium gear, bro. Look at that hat. That hat is fresh. Hell yeah. Dang. I got to put this box down real quick. Dang, Reptarium gear to the fullest. This is definitely Lily's. This ain't fitting me. I'll tell you that much right there. Dang, Lori and Brian, thank you. Look at, oh my God, look. She said she had to add to the alpaca. I had to add to your alpaca colony, so she sent me another alpaca. Hell yeah. Make sure Delilah don't get a hold of that. Oh man, more gear in here, dude. There's a coloring book. Oh man, this is good. I'm about to rock this shirt. Hell yeah, guys. Reptarium. You guys know what the deal is. Brian Barchek, Lori Barchek, the Barcheks. Thank you guys. You guys are like family to me. You already know what the deal is. I appreciate this box so much. I can't wait to visit you guys again soon. What else did you guys send? Oh, more llamas. Damn, look how many llamas she sent. Jesus. Or not llamas, alpacas. Damn, I just called my own thing alpacas. Thanks, Lori. You're awesome. Beautiful. All right. That's all the stuff, man. If you guys want to send me anything, any stickers, all that, reach out to me. Let me know. I'll shout it out on the podcast just like that. I love it. You guys are awesome. Early Birds, what's good? Early Birds, how are you guys doing, man? I hope you guys are ready, okay? Because like I said, tonight's guest, man, I've been following this guy for a while. And I pay attention to things. You know, I'm really good at paying attention to details. And, you know, like, for instance, I'll give you an idea, right? This gentleman we're bringing on, I had a sense that this guy had, you know, a background with working with animals. And I didn't really know him that well, you know, but I just, you know, mutual friends, added him on Facebook, and I just kept looking in. And, you know, things were coming up. But then I also noticed that this guy doesn't really put himself out there as a lot of us do, like a lot of influencers and whatnot do nowadays. So interesting stuff to be talked about tonight. I cannot wait. He's joining in from the East Coast. He's very player, and he's tapping in. Here he is tonight from Urban Jungle Radio. We have the man himself, Danny fucking Mendez. Danny!
Woo! What's up, baby? How are you, man?
Dude, how are you, man?
I'm good. I'm a little sad. I'm not gonna lie.
Why are you sad?
Because I fucked up. I started watching Coco before it fucks me up so bad. And
are you crying?
Yeah, I was. But I'm probably also like a little bit high too. So there's like a combination of things going on there. There's like a combination of things going on at work. But how you been, man? Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Dude, this is a great honor, man, because like I said, Danny, you know, I can't help but to pay attention to, you know, just the stuff that I feel like you're affiliated with, but then also know that you're not Mr. fucking, hey, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, like look at me, you know what I mean? You're not a look at me guy, but you're very interesting. So I wanted to bring you onto the show. So thank you for being here. Much love. Before we get started, how are things on your end, man? You know, with COVID and all that stuff. I know there's been a lot of fucking ups and downs, but everything good? Are you good? What's up?
Oh, everything's completely fucked, but it's okay. You know, it's fine. The world is really fucked. This is like ground zero for being fucked, and yeah, it's all fucked. So I go out there and I try to protect myself and get the fuck out of the city as much as I possibly can,
Right.
and and just keep away from people. I don't get near people in general, so it helps.
Yeah.
I got a really big dog that doesn't like people, so when I walk the streets, they keep away from me, so I don't have to worry about the whole like 6 foot distancing bullshit. It's all good. So
It helps. So yeah, I have 2 pit bulls, and like instantly it's like, hey, look, they're pit bulls. Don't ask if they don't, maybe they don't bite, they don't, but either way, don't come to near me. Like, just go away.
I got a dogo, and he's
oh god,
he's a fucking nightmare. He's sleeping right behind here.
I saw a video of a dogo taking down a leopard or something really wild, because they're hunting dogs where they're at. You know what I mean? And they take down the most bizarre things, and it's fucking nuts, bro.
Yeah, they're meant to hunt boar mostly, but they do take down like things like puma and stuff like that, where they're from in Argentina.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's a crazy ass dog. And I took this dog on right in the middle of the pandemic. Like, I got him as an adult, and he was fucked. Not in the obvious way. He wasn't well socialized. He wasn't leash trained, and he was owned by this amazing single mom. But she's like 5 foot, nothing. And so she was scared to walk him on a leash. This dog never got walked on a leash, right? And then I'm like, I'll fix him. I live in the city, and I put this dog on a leash, and he literally wants to kill everything and everybody in a 6 foot radius. But, we worked hard at it, and fast forward a year later, he's actually good, and he's decent. And, he's now my side. I couldn't imagine. He's basically, I can't, because being out here on the East Coast, I can't have a sidearm. So he's basically my sidearm, which is nice. So, yeah.
I love dogs, man. Now let's get into the whole animal talk real quick, if you don't mind, because I want to know, the stance of you working with animals, because like I said, it's not just reptiles. You have fucking really cool shit that you've worked with. So let's take it back, man. When was animals introduced?
Way back. So I was a bored city kid, and I just loved animals my whole life, like fucking obsessed. Like I'm pretty sure what the kids today call ADD or whatever, just because of my obsession. That's not true. It's not ADD, because I could focus. And thank God weed helps a lot too. But, for real. So I was really obsessed. I was obsessed with animals and being trapped in the city. Like, I grew up in literally the most densely populated city in the United States. And so there's just, people are just doing their thing, and nobody notices the wildlife around them. And I did. And it was like a curse, right? Because, I'd be sitting there, and I saw the fucking kestrels that are nesting in the cavity of that rooftop building that nobody else saw. And these are the things that I obsessed on. So anyway, that inspired me to just really keep on wanting to work with animals. So eventually I started a career working as a zookeeper. I started at fucking Boogie Down, of course. I started the Bronx Zoo as a zookeeper, like way long ago, probably longer than most of your audience has been alive, sadly. But that was like around circa like 1999, 2000. I started a career as a zookeeper at the Bronx Zoo. That was amazing. I wanted to work in the reptile department, but there's like no fucking way to get into the Bronx Zoo reptile department, because
but just to even get into the Bronx Zoo, period, that's sick. Like, that's still
that was amazing in its own. But like, the reptile department is really small, and it's like the best fucking place, right? Everybody wants to be there. Yeah. So ain't nobody letting off that job. So like, everybody there like starts that job and then like fucking retire. But how are you gonna fucking hit something you're not telling me? And so
I'll be hitting throughout the whole show is what I do.
So am I, but I was waiting for you out of politeness. You know how fucking long it's been? So anyway.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, my bad.
So it's okay.
Smoke as much as you want, however you want. Go ahead.
I'm smoking. Cool. So yeah, I got into the department of mammalogy because I couldn't get into the reptile department. It's just like, no way, nobody gets in there, right? But it was cool because at that point, I had already harassed everybody in the reptile department before I even started working at the Bronx Zoo. Like, I would show up there all the fucking time. And at the time, the curator was John Baylor, who, if you're a turtle person, you immediately know who that is. John Baylor was a fucking iconic guy, right? And he was the curator of reptiles, and he was such a nice guy. Like, he always takes the time out to talk to me, which was great. And I was just basically his fanboy. Used to show up at the zoo all the time. So when there was an opportunity after college to get a job there, I was actually working on Wall Street at the time, believe it or not. So what nationality are you?
I'm Italian and Mexican. So I was telling you, my family's in the East Coast. So guess what nationalities in the East Coast? All the Italians, all of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
thank God, because the best fucking delis ever. Anyway,
dude, have you been to San Diego? Have you ever visited San Diego?
No, I have not.
If you do, I'm taking you to Mona Lisa's, okay? Because if you want to talk about Italian delis, bro, there's Waptown, Little Italy in San Diego, which is like legitimate.
All right, well, you say you come here East Coast, so next time, I'll hit you up with some spots. There's a spot where I go, legit, it's run by this like 90-year-old lady and her like two like 50-something-year-old sons, and it's just fucking gold. Anyway, we digress. This is the animal show. Stop fucking with me. I'm way too hot to digress. So where was it? Oh, so yeah, I started working at the Bronx Zoo, but I ended up working for the Department of Mammalogy, which is fine. So they stuck me with the mammal stuff, and that was all right. But eventually, make a long story short, I ended up working the reptiles that were in the typically what were mammal installations. So things like the World, Jungle World, World of Darkness, places like this where they had a reptile collection, but it really fell under the responsibility of the mammal department. They put me into those spots, and it was great. I got to work with all the reptiles, like Chinese alligators, all kinds of monitors, just fucking false gharials, everything. Really fantastic stuff. I love the Bronx. I absolutely loved it. But I had another opportunity later on to work at a museum in the New York City area, and the Bronx, zookeeper life, that's a whole other story in itself. Zookeeper life sucks, bro.
I heard, I've had a couple zookeepers, man, and definitely the money's not there at all. It's not even about the money. It's about figure out what you have to do to just keep working with these animals that you're obsessed with. But yeah, I've seen things. But go ahead.
It's super toxic and super political, right?
Controlling, too. Really controlling, right? So
at the Bronx Zoo, on top of that, it's a fucking a union job, right? So you got to like fight for your life when you get it. Anyway, so it was good, but it was tight. There was a lot of shit there that I wasn't crazy about. So I had this other opportunity in a museum. I took that. Thank God I did. I ended up staying there. It was Liberty Science Center. I ended up staying. It's literally right across from the Statue of Liberty. And I ended up staying there for about 10 years, which is great. Almost 10 years, which is great. And in that time, I got to rise up and be a curator of the living collection, which is fantastic because we got to collect our own animals and curate the collections. It was just fucking great. The most surreal thing was 9/11 because I was there during 9/11. Wow. And like literally every day, right across my office window were the towers. And September of that year, I went on my I'm old. No, it wasn't. Thank God. No, it wasn't. So I was gonna say it was my honeymoon, but it wasn't. Thank God, it wasn't my honeymoon. I took a trip with my at the time soon to be wife to Africa. So literally September, I like late August, I took a trip to Africa, and on September 11th, I was in Africa. I was in Tanzania and in Kenya for a while. And it was the craziest thing because 9/11 happened on the day I was coming back to the US. I was coming back on 9/11. And it happened, and they woke us up when they were like, you should see the TV. And it was fucking surreal. It was crazy that this place that I worked across the street from the whole time was just literally like fucking like crumbling. It was the craziest thing anyway. So that was a really good experience as a whole working at that place. And then I took on various other jobs, all in the animal field, working in wildlife rehabilitation for a long time, doing different freelance conservation projects with the state and with different private organizations. I had done a lot. And then like ultimately the last thing I've really been focusing on is I have my own wildlife education company. It's called Zoo Jersey, and it's been pretty fucked for the last year because of the pandemic. But for the most part, it makes me happy because I get to go out there and do wildlife education and really fun in different ways. I do shows in ways that people have never seen before, and I don't want to give too much away because it's original. So you got to just come see it.
I'm down. That's fucking awesome. That sounds amazing. So the Bronx, the Bronx Zoo, you left when? When did that career end? When did
2000? That was 2000.
Okay, and you started a family then? Like that's when you got married, or?
Ended up getting married a couple of years after that. I had cold feet for the longest fucking time. Right now, my poor ex-wife at the time. I was with her for like a gazillion years before I got married. So no, not yet. But it was a done deal pretty much at the point. This is my college sweetheart at the time, okay. And this is my baby mama. And so at the time I was pretty much in my like set life. I thought I was gonna be a zookeeper for life, but that shit didn't happen. The biggest shakeup is, for those of you who were alive at the time, was 2008. the country saw a really horrible economic downturn, and that closed and shut down a lot of places, including the place that I was working for, the museum at the time. And so I had to leave in 2008. And around that time, I did start my family. And so I made a decision to become a stay-at-home dad. And so I stayed at home and I raised my kids while my wife at the time was building her business and her career, which I fucking love. I love spending time with my kids. My kids are everything to me. That's why you'll never ever see a picture of them anywhere ever, because they don't exist on the internet.
I think about that too, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know yet because I don't have kids, but I wonder, do I want to fucking put my kid out there and like just and I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I say that now, but I don't know.
You'll understand why, I think, if we go into the story more later on. But I spent a good portion of my year, especially doing the Urban Jungle Show podcast, with daily death threats. And all kinds of crazy shit. So I wasn't going to expose them to that. I mean, you might see videos of my kids like when they were like 2 years old, but now, you've never, in the last 10 years, nobody's ever seen a picture or a video of my kid because I refuse to put them on the internet.
This whole time I've been following you, like I said, for the last years, I've never seen a picture of your kids at all. So I didn't know. You had 3 kids. I was like, oh, what? So that's
my life is like super private. I like to keep my private life super private. And then what I share online is a totally different thing. I mean, and it's no less genuine than the real me. It's just, you don't deserve to know what I do with my family at night. So,
I think people naturally think, oh, I'm supposed to show what I'm doing every day. Like, because, so many people are new to social media, see what everyone else does. And you don't necessarily need to do that. Like, there's, I don't know, you have a choice basically. And I always respect people's choices when they're, they don't show everything that their life's all about. Because, there is a thing called privacy. God bless, man. Why can't you have some privacy nowadays? Like, you know what I mean? So I don't.
Yeah, and there's something good about mystery. Like, I don't want to know everything about you. Like, keep some fucking mystery in your life. Keep yourself exciting. I don't want to know you see you fucking brushing your teeth in the morning.
Hey, idiot, you got a zit.
Yeah, fuck that. Like, I don't want to know that much about your life. I'm glad your fucking enema went great. Like, whatever. Like, this is great. You don't need to share that shit on fucking YouTube or whatever.
That's so funny,
yeah. Anyway, so that led, my becoming a stay-at-home dad. It was a crazy thing, actually. I remember I went to a conference in Arizona where I was doing a presentation for tarantula breeding because I'm a really big invertebrate guy. Shout out to my invert people. Can't see it. It's my tarantula tattoo. Anyway.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, you're like scared of spiders. I saw your shit. So anyway, I was doing this conference, and then I was talking to a guy at the time, and he was like, "Hey, and I was telling him we were like on the flight back together and shit from Arizona, and he was like, "Hey, have you ever thought of this thing? The people are recording and uploading like shows, like podcasting." I'm like, this is like 2010, I'm like, I've heard of it, maybe I'll try it and shit, and that became the birth of Urban Jungles Radio, basically being not a single at the time I was married, being a stay-at-home dad, I should say, and like just working my whole life in the zoological career. At this point, I'd made so many connections and knew so many people and was able to make all these cool, jumps and leaps that I dove into creating this Urban Jungles Radio. And it was funny because the first fucking year was like it was terrible, man. Like, there was nobody to follow. Like, there was nobody to know what to do or how to do it the right way. Yeah. And so like the fucking first episode, I think I took off the internet because it was so bad. And it was just like me talking in a room by myself. And it was like, hey, welcome to the Urban Jungles Radio Show, type shit, It was like so fucking like 50s, like whatever is bad.
What platform were you putting it on back then? Like, what was it that you used to put?
There wasn't anything live at the time. Like, you didn't have the option of going live, right? So I just used to record that shit on my fucking Mac. And then I would upload it. Yeah, I'd upload it from there to different sites. And that was only the first couple episodes. And at one point, I was like, I need to bounce off of somebody else. And the tech wasn't really there to do like what we're doing now remotely. Right. So I had a friend who used to work with me at the museum for a lot of years, and he was this really funny guy, Andy, and he always cracked me up. And he's got like this really great pop culture, general knowledge, like of movies and horror movies and sci-fi and shit like that. So like you could always bullshit. We always found things to talk about, and especially in the animal world, he was really into animals. He used to like work for me at the time. He was an animal interpreter, they used to call it, whatever the fuck that is. And anyway, so like I called him up. I was like, "Hey Andy, I'm doing this thing, and you should come over and we should do it together." And he did, and it worked out. Like it was magic, and we launched it. And it was funny because we were doing this show, and people were like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, you listen to it later, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And people didn't get podcasting at the time. This is 2010 or so. So I hate to admit it at this point, and I'm going to give you the exclusive right now. But basically, I'm going to smoke a bowl as I say this. But I was a big fan of basically the whole technique of faking it until you make it, right?
Okay.
And so basically, I started my show like by the third episode, we were the world famous Urban Jungles Radio, and it was great because people were buying into that shit, So they were like, "Oh wow, you guys are heard all over the world. That's great." And we were like, people were listening to us, but like in like fucking Yugoslavia or some shit, right? Like nobody cared.
That's global.
So, yeah, it was global, I guess, but it was the beginning of the internet. This is the time when fucking people were like just discovering how to send dick pics and shit. So, so the first couple episodes were like whatever, but like then I started making calls to places, and I was like, "Hey, yeah, you can check out our show. It's online, and this is Danny from WUJR, and out of New York City." And it was great. People will fall for that shit and give me interviews, and I was next thing you know, I'm talking to like really prominent scientists and shit like that, But I was able to hold my own in the conversation, which is what mattered. I knew what I was talking about, and was able to share with them and shit. So it became weird, man. It just snowballed, and eventually it actually became a thing. Like within the first few episodes, like people were listening, and we were getting invitations to go places, which was mind blowing. Like people were gonna pay us to fucking do what we were doing, which is basically coming over to my house. And like me getting shit faced because my friend Andy, as great as he was, unfortunately he was straight edge, right? So like I'd be the fucking smoking up, like taking bong rips and shit off camera all the time, and and it was great, man. It was fucking great. We were getting all these guests, man, and then next thing you know, we're getting like invitations. And this is another story I got to go back to later on, but we're getting invitations to go to shows, and like fucking Brian Potter from Narbc is calling me up, and he's like, "Bro, you gotta come out. I heard your shit. Come on out, man. You gotta come out to the show. I want you to come out and put you on the table. We'll set you up." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I'm hanging up. I'm like fucking screaming like a girl, like, "Oh my god, Andy, Brian Potter wants us to come to Narbc Chicago or whatever." So,
wow.
I'll tell you that story now since we're here. Right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so man, so that was like fucking great. That was such a fucking highlight, man. Brian Potter like and legit just invited me to come out to NARBC, right? And we come out there. Like we had done some cool shit up to that point, We were interviewing cool people, and like it was probably like one of the first times Barcheck I put on anything really at the time. Which is funny. No, not true. He had snake bites, but nothing like podcast wise. So it was great. It was a really good time. And so we're set to go to NARBC, and we go to NARBC, and we fucking get there, and it's amazing, bro. Fucking amazing, right? We had to pay our way there, but he threw us some chump change, which is nice and mind blowing. That like we're actually fucking making some money on this, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
This is like 2011. This is like 2011 or so, right? So shit was a whole fucking new world, man.
This is like barely like this is like literally when social media, like MySpace had just disappeared, and it was just Facebook. Instagram had just started, right? But like
bro, all Kaufman had at the time was Herper's DVDs.
Wow.
There's nothing else. There's no internet. There's no YouTubers. There's none of that shit at the time. It was a crazy time. It was a good time. It was an interesting time. So anyway, so we fucking make it out, and we make it out to NARBC, and it's fucking amazing. Dude, Potter sets us up right at the door where you come in, like right next to the fucking door. We're the first thing you see when you come into NARBC, right? And of course, it's like a fucking platform, like a fucking launch. Everybody's there, everybody's interested in listening to it, or if they haven't listened already, which was shocking to me that people had actually heard about us already at that point and were listening, right? And so we set up next to a vendor right at the door. And at one point on Saturday, part of the deal was I was going to do a live broadcast, which is unheard of too. I had to fucking buy like a fucking ridiculous like a hotspot router at the time, which I think was ended up costing me like $50 a half hour, some stupid shit like that at the time. But it was the only way to get on the internet live, right? So whatever, we did it. And it was cool. It was fucking great. So we get online and I'm doing my shit. And, you know, we were always known at that point for being outrageous. And it's basically you know, kind of like what you do now is like you spoke freely, which was not a thing. Everybody was fucking very vanilla on the internet at the time.
Yeah.
And
it's still, I mean, to this day, like it's a lot more like, okay, you can be yourself, but bro, like I was telling you before what I want to tell you, when I first started this, oh my God, man, just because I was cussing and like, I was getting called all this shit. Like, no one's gonna watch your fucking druggy ass fucking. You're just a gimmick. Blah blah blah. Like, well, it's just like, what's like? Is this why people don't want to be themselves? Like, is this is it? Like, because these fucking piece of shit fucking like little wannabe know-it-alls. So that just honestly, Danny, I did this not caring if it paid me or not, and you know, I did it because I was like, I want to fucking learn more about this shit. I want to learn, you know what I mean? I want to learn more about people. Like, I want to know, you know, who's what, because how much, like, if I'm obsessed about something, Danny, I want to know the history. Like, I want to know the roots of it. Like, you know, like, and I'm like you. It's funny that, like, one thing I just fucking connected with you about earlier is when you said you were a kid, you were that guy who would just pick out nests in a roof, like, and nobody else would really be seeing it. I was like that too, bro. And I would like almost be purposely looking for like a bird's nest all the time. Like I was so
spring was like hunting time. It was great, you know.
I loved it, you know. And this is why like my mom and dad are doing boring shit with their friends, and I would be in someone's backyard, like, you know, just fucking. I was always occupied of stuff like that. So when you said that, and I didn't really remember that now until you said that. So
yeah, it's, you know, it's nice. It's nice when you do something that you love. And my whole, like, kind of like you, I've heard you say this in your other shows that I've listened to. I think it's probably a Hispanic thing too, to be honest.
You listen to the show? I didn't know that.
Yeah, of course, man.
Thank you, respect. That means a lot.
So like, I think a lot of times we'll hear people say like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? My whole life to date still, like my family, like my mom and shit. It's like, why do you play with animals all day long? You know, you don't get it, right? Like, I would rather like just barely scrape by and be able to play with animals than fucking do a 9-to-5 job. And it's curious, it's funny, right? Because going back, and that's why I asked you, I think, why your nationality was earlier, right? Because I'm Cuban. And most people don't realize that, and most people think I'm a white guy. And that early in my career,
right here, bro. Yeah, thank you. All day.
But that was a fucking big help in my early career, right? So, like, when I was a young kid, but I was in college, like, I landed a job working at a place where it was basically a Wall Street company, a Wall Street firm. And they hired me at the time. International markets were a huge thing at that time. It was Latin American emerging markets were a big thing, where American companies were buying into now newly open Latin American markets, which were like taking away taxes and stuff like that, right? So basically these places would come and they would call me and like to come in on these really important meetings and stuff and just have me sit in. Like, they would just basically have me sit in, and they would basically have me sit in and listen in on these meetings that were super important to them, but they didn't want somebody else to know that they were being listened in on. So they would have me sit in on these meetings and just basically be a white guy, but I wasn't a white guy. So I could hear all the side banter and I could hear all the other things that were going on. So these companies basically hired me to be like this espionage guy. And it was great because I was making like so much money in Wall Street at that time. And that's when I made the decision to become a full-time animal guy and basically just be like, I can't live in a 9-to-5. I can't do a 9-to-5 in a cubicle. And I was doing like, I just want to work with animals no matter what that takes. And that was a big eye opener for that. So
yeah, it's crazy you said that. It's eye opening for me you say that, because the only thing that pushed me to working a 9-to-5, and this is pre-animals, pre-snakes, throughout my 20s and 30, you know, when I was 30, it was the only thing that drove me to work was the money. Like, I was good at sales. And bro, I mean, I don't care how good you are at sales. Every now and then, you got to fucking fake the funk. And you got to fucking be nice to people you don't want to be nice to. And I did that for so long that I just couldn't fucking fake it no more, dude. Like, I almost lost being a good salesman because how fucking sick and tired I got tired of people, bro. And you got to be a people person in sales. I'm still good at sales, but I got to love what I'm selling. And I fucking got tired of fucking making someone else money. You know, I was number one in sales, everything I did. So who do you think was making all the money? The person I was working for. So at the end of the day, man, this hobby made me realize how big of a piece of shit people really are, but it made me also see there are good people out there too. Like there are people that I'm like, fuck, I would have never met this person if it wasn't for this hobby. So like I do have like another uplifting hope, like, you know, meeting you, like this is awesome. Like, you kidding me, bro? Like I probably would be a hermit if it wasn't for, you know what I mean, any of this. Because just people are fucked up, and I'm fucked up too. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm Mr. fucking, hey, and you're not wrong with me, but no, because I'm fucked up, I don't want to be around people either. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know.
People are fucked up too, especially when it comes to animals, and that's my issue.
Yeah.
I have zero tolerance for that, and
you've been around too, so a lot of this new shit you see, it's probably fucking goddamn just crawling on your skin.
Perfect example. Yeah, I can't even get into that yet, but perfect example. Like, okay, so let's go back to the whole NRBC thing, right? My first day at NRBC, it's fucking great. We're doing a live broadcast. I'm fucking loving it. We're getting all the attention. People are listening around the country. Thank you so much. This is really cool. We get to know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. So we're about like half hour into the show. And I look over to my right at the vendor to the right of me. And it's a guy who's selling geckos, leopard geckos mostly. He's got the typical deli cup setup, right? He's got the deli cup setup, and he's also got halogen lights over the deli cups. And literally in the middle of the broadcast, I look over and I'm noticing geckos flipping upside down in their deli cups from overheating.
Oh, God.
So I can't shut the fuck up about this, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I start talking about like, bro, I can't believe I'm looking at this. This is really disappointing right now. I don't even know how to approach this. And then like I literally went over to the guy on air, and I was like, can you do something about those geckos? And you can hear him going, they're fine. They do that sometimes. And I'm like, no, the gecko should not be flipping out its fucking back, bro. And I lost my shit. And this is where I fell outside of being in the podcast graces. And this is where I got my reputation. It's kind of like, you know, Danny is a little bit of a double-edged sword in that sense, is that, like, I say what comes to mind, and I was just like I railed on this guy. I was like, this is ridiculous. If you're gonna have a fucking step, don't have a fucking halogen light banging over an animal that's in a container, in another container, like someone's obviously not familiar with the fucking greenhouse effect, right? And I fucking went off, and whatever. I was on my throne. I felt so good about it. I fucking came to the biggest fucking reptile shows. I fucking gave my observations. I said my piece, whatever. That night, we went out. We partied hard. It was fucking great. The next day, like, everybody was miserable and hungover. We went home. Everybody was fucking hugging each other, crying. We had such a good time. Like, you know, everybody bonded so much at that show. And I get home and fucking, I remember, I was with my family. I was with my kid, and I took him out to a playground, and I'm fucking like feeling good. Like, yeah, we just fucking rock Chicago, you know, Urban Jungles radio right now, this and that. And I fucking get the fucking buzzing in my pocket, and I look at it. It's fucking Potter.
Oh shit!
Shit! Oh, hey, Potter. Okay, hey man, what's up? He's like, bro, I gotta talk to you, bro. Like, what's the matter, man? He's like, bro, the vendors complain about you, man. He's like, they're mad that you talked about all that stuff on the air, and they said that they're not going to renew their tables if you come back. He's like, I can't have you back to the show, bro.
Oh,
and like,
God.
My heart dropped, dude, into my stomach. And I went, okay, Brian, that's cool. You know,
yeah,
just
for you not being able to stomach watching a fucking animal die.
I have no regrets of what I said, and that's one of the things I stand by. I say shit that pisses people off, but I stand by what I say always.
100%. Me too, bro. I'm the same way. I've taken myself in a couple holes. I mean, I wouldn't even want to call them holes, but people want to throw fusses about them and shit. I guess I could say them holes, but I've said some shit because when I feel a certain way, bro, and you know, I don't know. I mean, I've gotten a lot better because I used to just say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna speak the one I want to speak." And, you know, I pick and choose, and I just try to just leave everything for the podcast now. But goddamn, man, people hate, and especially because, like, you know, when you speak in a broad, you know, in generalities, but that what you're saying hits somebody, like even though you're not talking to them personally, they just feel like, oh my God, he's talking about me. Like, he's talking about me. You know what I mean? And it goes into a complete fucking different mode. And
I let those people fly with that shit. Like, you take that shit and you run. If you think I'm talking about you and I'm not talking about you, that's fine. Because I make no mistake of usually telling the person who I'm talking about that I'm talking about them. Like, and that's another issue, you know? So, yeah, bro. So, like, whatever. I got the call from Potter and my heart dropped. We're fucked. I remember, like, I didn't even want to do a show that week. You know, we're supposed to do our post show type deal. And the worst part was I remember calling my friend Andy, my partner at the show at the time, and telling him and explaining to him. Like, I could literally hear him like trying like hold back the sobbing, because, you know, Andy's like not an animal guy. Like, this is a big thing for him. This is a big step out for him, and this is a big deal and a major milestone. And he was so upset. I could hear him crying. I felt like fucking shit. I was like, what the fuck am I doing, bro? It's so fucked up. But you know what? Like I just said, like I sat there and I said, you know what? This is how I feel. This is what I know. This is my training tells me this. My gut tells me that. If I see a fucking animal overheating and flipping on its back, I gotta say something about it, right? Fuck the sponsorship. Fuck everything else. So whatever. I put my head down. Boom. I started banging the air out. And make a long story short, a couple months later, like 2 months later, I get a call from somebody, and they're like, "Yeah, you know," it's a guy with an Australian accent. He's like, "Yeah, my friend here, you caught his attention. He wants to talk to you." I'm like, "All right, you know, like, what's his name?" He's like, Bob Irwin. Excuse me.
Irwin.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry. Do you mean Steve Irwin's father? Yes. Okay. So whatever. Long story short, Bob Irwin starts like fucking calling me. Motherfucker's calling me like 3 times a week, right? And because it's Australia, it's like 11 and 12 o'clock at night. Just to bullshit.
That's
bro. Steve Irwin's dad is fucking calling me to bullshit, right? And
that's epic.
He talked me into getting arrested later, but that's another story. And so whatever, I put that show up, and that shit blew up. And like 5 months later, I got a call. Bro, you gotta come back to the show, man.
All of a sudden,
hey, man, what's going on, man? Yeah, bro, you should come back, man. Everyone wants to hear from you, man. Okay, man. Hey, listen, I'll come back, but you gotta do me a favor, Potter. Like, yeah, bro, whatever you want. I want to do a fundraiser. Okay, man. What kind of fundraiser? What do you want to do? I want to slap people in sumo suits and have them have a deathmatch fight to the end, and they have to pay to do it. And they're gonna donate everything to US Arc. And he did it. Fucking Potter did it. And the next year we did it. Next year we fucking did it. I had fucking Barczyk. I had everybody. Dude, the most vicious fight of that session was between Brian and Lori Barczyk. Oh my god. I thought she was gonna kill him. Oh, you should see. Look back on the video. It's on my channel. I thought she was gonna kill him. It was great.
I would not fucking fuck with Lori at all. I would not.
No. You don't fuck with Lori. She was fucking slinging him around. It was like a fucking schoolyard bitch fight. It was great. So yeah. So it was great. So we came. So our return back to NARBC was just fucking triumphant. And the following year was the same thing. We had the following year. I had jousting. I had a giant arena, like fucking gladiator arena. And motherfuckers are taking shit with the cotton swabs and shit, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yo, I wanted to shake shit up. I was like, if we're going to go to the show, we're going to fucking make it amazing. And we did. Like, we fucking went to the show. The most outrageous things we could think of, I would talk Potter into doing, which is great. Or talk the other show promoters into doing. Grant Crossman up in Canada is another one. He's great. He's fucking so wonderful. Like, he let us go there. Me and Andy went up there. We rocked it. We had the best fucking time at that show, man. And it was just basically at the end, the result was just being true to ourselves. We weren't vanilla coding shit. We lost a lot of people. Bob Irwin ended up not talking to me anymore because of how much I cursed on my channel. Like, he legit was like, I can't associate with you anymore because we're going a different way, because he was starting like some foundation and shit. So like there was a lot of heartache that came with it, a lot. But at the end of the day, like, I'm so happy that we were always just true to who we had to be. And we just fucking, it was great, man. We just did so much crazy shit. Bro, we had a fucking guy die live on our fucking show. Like,
dude, oh my god, you told me this. Can we hear this story, please?
Oh my god! So all right, so
let's hear this. This is iconic.
This is.
I hate to say, but this is iconic. Let's hear it.
This is like more bull-worthy shit. Fuck. All right, hold on. I'm gonna pack while I talk on this one. So
while he's packing a bowl, I'm gonna have some chocolate, magic chocolate.
Right. So yeah, oh you fucker! I wish I had edibles. So anyway,
look, this is magic mushroom chocolate.
Oh, you bastard! Oh, I wish. Oh, that's great. Oh my god, I should tell you about my magic mushroom experience. That was like only a couple. I took mushroom for the first time in my life a couple of months ago, and I ended up on a road in Florida with a gun pointed to my head. But that's another story.
Oh my god.
Let's go back to the thing. Okay, so 2000. I'm so high to remember this right now. 2012-ish. 2012. I get a call from Ben Siegel, who's been a friend of mine forever. Like Ben, I knew Ben like probably like almost 8-10 years at this point. Do you know Ben Siegel?
Yes.
Obviously, you know like the whole legend, right? So, so I get a call from Ben, and Ben was really fucking high, and Ben was experimenting with this new thing that came out in 2012 that everybody was on, and it was called wax. And people were smoking wax for the first time, right?
What year was this?
What's that?
What year was this?
2012.
Yeah,
I want to say.
Yeah, I started dabbing. I started doing wax like literally. Man, I'll never forget because a lot of my buddies they supply to the fucking shops here. They've been growing their whole lives. So, I mean, this is like 2011, 2012, bro. And
yeah, I never heard of it, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the things I used to do on UJR, which is funny because I have no inclination. I'm too high to watch looking at everything in red right now. One of the things about what I used to do is like I used to like making parody songs and like crazy stupid shit up like that just to play on the show for like filler, right? Okay. And I had at the time that song "I'm Sexy and I Know It" was big, right? Yeah. So I remade it. I used to have these guys, man, that used to like follow the show, and one of them was fucking great, and he would help me write songs. He was so fucking good at it. I miss that dude. So he would take pop songs at the time and rewrite them to like make them fitting for UJR. And so he took "Sexy and I Know It" to "I'm Snaky and I Know It." Stupid. You can see that on the YouTube channel too. And
Snaky.
Apparently this fucking tickled Ben Siegel, right? Because snaky dabs were like the thing, right? Where like he had like the long ass fucking dab. So like he turned it into like his own fucking like personal anthem, right? So hey, bro, you gotta come down here, man. I'm having this thing. It's gonna be fucking amazing. You should come down. Like, what is it, man? He's like, I just expanded my store. He's like, we're having a big celebration. He's like, it starts at midnight, bro. At midnight on Friday, it's called Midnight Madness. I'm having everything come down. We're gonna have competitions. I'm gonna be giving shit away. We're gonna have sales. It's gonna be fucking great. I want you to come. I want you to MC it. I want you to host it. Ben, I don't know. I'll pay it. I'll fly you down. I'll put you up. Okay. Yeah, so like, okay, so we fucking go, right? So, long story short, I fucking fly down there, and we start Midnight Madness, right? I get like on Thursday, and it's fucking preparing, and it's crazy. And I'm at his place, dude, and it's so overstocked with amazing animals like Bolin's pythons in cups, sitting in deli cups. They weren't even being put away. There were so many of them.
Wow, God!
Yeah, this is when Indo was a little freer, right?
Right. No shit.
Ringed pythons, savus, all that shit. Fucking, I remember seeing that shit sitting pile high, and I was fucking with the Bolin's python. I remember the Bolin's python because I took six Bolin pythons out of the deli cup and I fucking put them on my head like Medusa and was fucking around, right?
Wow.
So, yeah, I gotta find that picture. That's somewhere.
Please do. I gotta see that.
Yeah, I gotta show you some pictures from that night. I still have a lot of the pictures from that night. Anyway, so I go to Ben Siegel's operation at the time, right? He had just fucking hit on this whole formula with Facebook, right? Nobody had done the Facebook auctions ever. And this motherfucker is beating the system. At this time, 2012, Facebook's not monitoring anything, right? It's a free-for-all. So he starts opening up and doing a live auction on his page. That shit blows the fuck up. Right? My man is selling 15, 20 animals nightly at top dollar. But I'm talking really cool shit. He didn't skimp. Like, he would get really nice fucking high-quality animals. Things like Bolins, chondros of all sorts. Of course, a lot of the shit was farmed in Indo, but still, it was really nice shit that you could get, for a fucking a bid, right? And the bid started like $1. So this fucking made this huge phenomenon, and probably like 6 months prior to that, Ben just fucking got filthy rich off of this shit. Like, he was making so much money off of this. He started another company that made him even more money, which most people didn't even know about at the time. And that was fucking great, because remember we were talking about how dabs were like the big thing at the time? Yeah. So my fucking man, he hooks up with a local artist. I'm probably saying way too much, but whatever. He hooks up with some local artist who like custom designs torch covers for him. Wow. Butane torch covers where you drop your butane torch into it. And it's like fucking like Star Wars themed, Lord of the Rings themed, like all kinds of crazy shit, right? Bro, all popular now. Yeah, well, this shit took off. He was a fucking pioneer in this shit. It took off to the point where he fucking ended up getting like one of the companies of the year in High Times, right? And this is all simultaneous to his fucking Facebook years, where he's fucking raking and it's crazy. So he does this Midnight Madness thing to celebrate all this. He expands his store. He buys out the store next door, knocks down the walls, makes it this fucking huge place. Half of it is off fucking the public view. Half of it is just fucking processing animals and packing them out, right? And storing them. So we start this Midnight Madness shit, right? And it begins.
Hey, Danny, real quick, what was the name of the company of Ben Siegel's? Like, did he have a name?
Ben Siegel Reptiles. And yeah, it was just Ben Siegel Reptiles, and he had the store is in Deerfield Beach, Florida at the time.
Okay.
And right now it belongs to somebody else, to Amir, who's doing the auctions. I think he still continues to do the auctions, but they're like a fraction of what they were, right? They're not at all what they used to be. So Midnight Madness begins, and Ben is doing all this crazy shit, live music, live DJ. I'm broadcasting live once again, unheard of shit. I fucking had to pull out like a fucking $300 contract with like AT&T to let me live stream it for the night. Fucking archaic fucking shit, bro. But I did live stream that on Facebook, not on Facebook, on YouTube at the time. That was pretty forward out there. So I remember that. I'll tell you why that becomes relevant later on. So anyway, I remember I did a live stream there, and then we began the festivities. This motherfucker had like fucking, and this video is on my YouTube channel as well. He had a fucking troop of girls came in, like fucking like 6 girls that were belly dancers, and they fucking started doing like all these crazy dances to like Rob Zombie music and shit, like in the middle of this fucking. It was fucking surreal, bro, surreal, right? And of course, they're all this. Everybody's fucking smoking all day long, right? So.
Right.
We're all just fucking the best fucking time ever. So we get to the highlight of the evening, which is an insect eating competition. So Ben had people come in and had them sign waivers. And bro, I gotta do this. I'm doing this. I'm gonna do this on YouTube later on at some point because I want to really get into all the details and the juicy details, which it's literally gonna be a fucking like 4-hour Lord of the Rings epic saga. But anyway, so Ben had like people fucking coming in and signing waivers and shit because he was running this contest where you eat insects. Yeah. In tiers, and the final contestant got to win. The top 3 contestants got to win. Are you ready for this? A ball python.
A normal or a pastel?
Nah, it was some kind of morph that was high end at the time, like probably like a 15. I think the top prize was like a $15 or $2,000 morph. I can't for the life of you tell me what the fuck. Like I'd have to look back at the footage. I can't even for the life of you tell me what that morph was. Whatever the fuck it was.
Can I ask where you stand with the ball python community and like where that's going?
We don't have time for that. I'll go back to that. So anyway, we'll go back to that. You just remind me of ball pythons later. So anyway, okay. Because I got something to say about that shit. Anyway. All right. So the contest starts, and like the first tier is like pretty fucking easy. It's like fucking like waxworms and mealworms, right? And you have like a 50 count of each, and the first person to wins that round. And this happens, right? And it escalates, or first 2 people or whatever, and it escalates. And as it escalates, the insects get bigger, right? Make a long story short, I've got cotton mouth. Make a long story short.
Yeah, if you got to go get water, bro, take your time.
No, I'm good. The final round is up, and the final round is eating like I want to say 20 discoid roaches. You know what I'm talking about? The big fucking cave roaches with the wings that fly, right?
Eating those?
Yeah, the big motherfuckers that have the wings. Like when I used to work at the museum, we used to have them. We used to throw them off the balcony because they can't really fly, but they glide, and they would like fucking do this crazy cool gliding thing. They're huge, like fucking like massive. Yeah, anyway,
they're fucking massive.
They're gross. They're called like Trinidad cave roaches, Blabberus giganteus, I think they are. Anyway, it's sad I know that. Anyway, so the round is eating like 20 of those motherfuckers. So I forgot to mention an important part, right? All these contestants are mostly locals and known people. There's one guy that showed up that nobody knew, right? This motherfucker's got like shoulder length hair, greasy shoulder length hair. He shows up in a tank top and like 80s short shorts, tube socks, wristbands, headband. Before each trial, he's jogging in place, doing bendovers. Fucking complete clown, right? People were loving him. The dude was hilarious. Nobody knew him. He wasn't a customer. Mystery guy.
He just walked in.
Just walked down the show. Like he walked in, he did his registration shit, but like he wasn't part of the community. Like most of the people there, like were people that Ben knew, were customers, Reptile people in general that we knew from Florida.
I was gonna say, are you sure this isn't David Levinson? Like,
bro, no, you can't mistake that fucking mustache, right? So anyway, no, so right, so this guy walks in and you know he's a fucking hilarious character, so we're loving it. You know, I'm having the best time with him and shit. And he does the final round. We all do the final round. So they start fucking choking down these roaches, bro.
Oh,
the juices are shooting at it. The juices are shooting out of their mouths.
Oh my god, is it green?
I couldn't tell you. I was turning around, and the worst part is I remember everybody like doing this shit a lot.
Oh, their teeth. Oh.
To like push the parts off their teeth.
Oh,
I was just thinking about that. Oh, anyway, so just about everybody taps out. Like, oh my god, my greater health thinking about this. So everybody taps out except for this dude and two other guys. They're like 5 people, right? 2 people tap out. They're like, fuck this shit, and the other dudes will keep going at it. So fucking jogger dude, okay, go guy. He wins. He fucking houses these roaches. And during the process, I'm watching him. He's fucking choking these down so forcefully, right? These motherfuckers are big. He's chomping them. The juices are squeezing out. He's pushing the fucking wings down, right? He's puking, swallowing it, and pushing them down again. Repeatedly.
God.
Bro, I just got this fucking guy's arm, like, champion. I don't care who the fuck says what. This guy won tonight. He wins this fucking ball python.
He's like, yes.
He was, and people were cheering him on. Like it was a crowd of people in the parking lot. This is in front of the store. Like it was absurd. I had a live stream going the whole time. It was fucking. It was absurd at the time, right? Really absurd.
You probably went home. And cooked that ball python up,
bro. So we distribute the fucking prizes like it's the Olympics. First, second, third. Ping, ping, ping. Here's your fucking ball python, right? And whatever. And we break up and we take a break. At this point, my voice is gone. I'm screaming. I'm hyping the crowd like I'm fucking like just Flavor Flav. And like it was great. Like it was just I'm sitting as a hype man, just having the best night ever, right? And so like Andy, my co-host, who's also my camera guy. I'm like, Andy, we gotta go have a post-celebration interview with that dude. I was like, let's grab him, right? So Andy's like, okay, let's grab him. So we go into the shop and the guy's there and we grab him like, hey, can I have a really quick interview with you? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, absolutely. So we have the interview and he fucking puts on the character. He lays it on thick, you know. Once again, he's like, I've been training for weeks. I've been ready. I knew I came in. I could come in and I came in with the mindset I was going to win and I won. Damn it. And like he's doing this whole fucking spiel and I'm loving it, you know, because for the video, it's fucking great, right? So like, yeah, we're loving this shit. It's great. So end the video, like 4 minutes of that video, that interview goes on. I'm like, cut, right? And we're done. Like, thank you, man. Hug it out. Cool. And he goes to the bathroom, right? And so he comes to the bathroom and he's in the bathroom and I'm bullshitting with Ben and everybody else. I don't think much of it. And he's in the bathroom for like 5-6 minutes and I realized he didn't come out yet. And I wanted to ask him something else. So I knock on the door. I'm like, you all right, man? He's like, yeah, I'll be right out. I'm like, okay, cool. So he comes out like a minute later. When the dude comes out, he's gray. Gray is the only way I could describe him, right? And I look at him like, are you okay, man? He's like, I don't feel so good. He's like, I've been throwing up. All right, let's go get some fresh air. So I look at Andy, who had caught my eye, and I nod him over, and he comes over. I'm like, help us out. So we grab the dude, and we start walking him out. And we walk him out of Ben's shop, right? So we walk him out of Ben's shop and we walk him out to the front. And dude just goes down like a bag of bricks. Like slips between our hands and our arms. Between the two of us, he went down just hard. Like just imagine somebody just dead weight dropping right then and there. He dropped on the ground and I could tell he was unconscious and wasn't breathing. And I grabbed Andy by the shirt and I threw him and I go grab 911, call 911. He runs in and calls 911. I don't even know what to do for this dude. Seconds later, what seemed thankfully like seconds later, this woman comes running out and she's like, I'm a nurse. What's going on? And I told her, I was like, he's unconscious. He's not breathing. This is the show winner or whatever. Man, this fucking woman, bro. I don't know who she is. I wish I did. I wish I had her name because she's a fucking saint, man. She's a fucking saint. This woman, bro.
Keep going. I'm listening.
Yeah, go ahead. This woman, she starts doing like CPR and life-saving techniques on this guy. She fucking digs into this guy's throat and she pulls out like fucking slop, basically, right? And she starts giving him mouth to mouth and doing chest compressions. And as she's doing chest compressions, fucking roach parts are flying out of his mouth. She did that until the ambulance got there. And that's kind of when I cut out of it. And I was just like, let them take it from here. And I came in and out to find out what was going on, to see where Ben was and stuff. But I remember, I'll never fucking forget, man, like looking through the ambulance thing. And they were like intubating him and sticking like basically a vacuum down this guy's throat. And stuff was coming up, man. Make a long story short, the guy aspirated from throwing up while eating the roaches. And basically what that means is he threw up, and instead of coming out of his mouth, it went into his lungs. And
shit, filled with fucking roach.
Yeah, like if you've seen those roaches, right? They've got tibial spurs.
Yeah, dude.
They look like fucking rose thorns on their legs, right? That shit was getting snagged up in his lung tissue and choking him, basically devoiding him of oxygen. And we got the note that like the dude died on the way to the hospital like 10 minutes later, and nobody was to leave.
Yeah, bro.
Cops were on the way. Like, fuck.
That's crazy.
We close up shop, everybody leaves. The people responsible for the whole area, Ben, his staff, myself, Andy, anybody who was there, we all just wait and the cops show up, right? And bro, I gotta show you this picture. I got this picture. It's a fucking panoramic picture. We're all sitting in the back of Ben Siegel's office waiting our turn to get interviewed by the cops. You could just fucking see the dread on everybody's face, man.
I'm sure.
And it was the worst. And the cops were like interviewing everybody and asking what they saw and stuff. And they interviewed us one by one. And then everybody gave their story. And that was it. And that was the last I heard of it. I think Ben ended up working something out with the guy's family or whatever. But yeah, that was the infamous thing, man, where the guy died literally. And I had the video live and I had it up on YouTube. And I had to take it down because the next day I got home, my fucking phone was blowing up with all the media calling me because they had seen my shit online and they wanted a first-hand account of it. And I refused to talk to anybody at the time. So, except for one, because I'm a little bit of an attention whore, just a little bit. And I made one exception for BBC because it's fucking BBC, right?
Okay.
Bro, come on.
Respect.
Right? BBC is the only people I talked to. It was BBC, and it was a typical BBC experience. It was mind blowing. Danny, welcome to BBC. Tell us what you saw that day. You know, it was fucking great. So, those are the only people I talked to. But like the most haunting thing, and I've never said this to anybody, so you're getting an exclusive right here.
Thanks. Wait, hold on. Let me check something real quick. I'm so sorry, Danny. I usually do this, but I've been so like just involved into this fucking session that I'm not even looking. And hold on, sorry. I got to make sure the likes are there, bro. Hold on. Yep. Well, hey, hold on. Whoa, no. We need the fucking likes to go up right now. If we want this to continue and we do not want to take this, I mean, I'll take this to Patreon page and we'll fucking give it to people who deserve it. But you better get these likes up for my man Danny right now. In the next 10 minutes, we better have 50 likes. That's all I gotta say. Go ahead, continue, please.
I'm gonna put this last part of the story on pause for the most part. I'm gonna leave one of the major details out until we get those likes. But I'm just gonna say this, that I have that last interview on film.
Wow.
I vowed to never ever release it, and I won't. I will never ever release it. But it was a big eye opener to mortality and to the whole like how crazy life is situation. And man, the second half of that story is crazier. But you know what? I might save that for a second interview just so maybe you bring me back for that one.
I'm gonna hella bring you back. You kidding me?
I'm going to hit that one. I'll let you know what happens the next time we meet up. That day when I ended up going back and staying over at Ben's place for the night, having to leave the next morning for my flight, and how I almost missed my flight, and how helicopters were involved and why.
Wow.
Yeah, no joke. So anyway, what else? We got a lot of stuff to talk about, and I'm gonna have to pee soon. So let's talk about what else.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to know. Okay, because you're talking about how fucking awesome these shows were and stuff like that. At what point did all this start to die down? Like when did, like, because it seems like you're on a run, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like everything you talk about, I'm like, wow, this dude was really in the mix. But then now, you know, I've been to a few shows and whatnot, and I don't know. I'm not saying you haven't been there, but like now, what's the deal? Like, what's going on?
Twofolds. Number one, and the simplest one, was divorce. And that knocked me off rails. Like I lost my studio, I lost all my stuff at that point. So that was a big thing for me. And I was always, if you've seen the old shows on YouTube and you saw my setup, I didn't fuck around. Like I wanted to have like a fucking cinematic, like really fucking nice setup, nice studio setup. And unless I can do it right, I don't want to do it again. That's kind of why I backed down. So I haven't really been in a situation where I have a studio that I'd be really happy to show off of yet. And there's a lot of other factors at play, but that was one of the biggest catalysts, honestly. It was my divorce. The second thing is just getting tired of it all. I felt like I was fighting uphill forever. Like I believed in everything that I believe in, and I still do. And it's not things that people agree with. And after a while, it just gets tiresome to fight people. So at this point, I'm kind of like, fuck you, you do your own thing, and I'm just going to kind of do mine. So that took me off of my pedestal for speaking out about a lot of things. There's still things that I will always hold near and dear to me. But like, this is all due respect to your audience in general, because I know that your audience is really involved on the captivity side, but I've lost all faith in general. With the whole breeding captivity side of the reptile trade. And this, I guess, goes back full circle to your earlier question about how I feel about ball pythons. For me, I'm old fucker at this point, man. I hate to say it. And I remember the 90s vividly, and that's when I started my love for reptiles, and it was a different world back then. And that's the world that I liked. We didn't strive to reproduce morphs. We strove to reproduce the species. And as a whole, I feel we failed tremendously in that. So bad. Like just the stuff that was so commonly available to us for years, we fucked up. We fucked it up so bad, if you've been on this journey, that I now feel that we are undeserving of it. So you want to do morphs, that's fine. I'm not knocking morphs. But that's of no interest to me, because while people are focusing on morphs, we're losing ringed pythons, we're losing Europlatus geckos, we're losing basically anything out of Madagascar at this point. We're losing South American stuff, that species that were so commonly imported that are no longer the case. Chameleons of all kinds, monitor lizards of all fucking kinds. Jesus Christ. The monitor lizards that we had access to for fucking nothing, bro. Do you understand? In the fucking 90s, but that shit was so fucking cheap. At one point, green tree monitors were $125 a piece, man. Like, and I'm disgusted with us as a hobby that we did not preserve these animals better. Instead, we'd rather have a fucking butterscotch mochaccino, whatever the fuck other phase it is of this snake, the 150th fucking phase of the same exact snake. Like, I have a hard time struggling with that, and I'm not knocking it, but that's just where my personal interest lies. So feeling that way, I cannot be industry friendly. And that also probably contributes to the downfall of this show is like, nobody wants to sponsor somebody who's going to speak out against the hobby. Like,
yeah,
I have a lot of fucking strong opinions about the hobby. And I'm not knocking it because I don't understand it. I was in it. I fucking owned a pet shop at 20 years old while I was going to college at the same time. Like, I know the hobby. I know the industry. I'm best friends with the fucking reps from, you know, all the major companies. And, you know, I fucking knew people like Ryan from Zilla when he was just the fucking president of his local herp society. Like, I know these people in the industry for so long. They're all my friends. The people who run the shows, Potter, internationally, Grant Crossman, all these fucking amazing people. They're deeply rooted in the pet industry, but I can't be there anymore. I'm more conservation based. I'm more kind of even where it does come to captivity, conserving the species. Like I'm just really upset that we lost so many things.
Can I say
we had our hands on? Go ahead.
Can I capitalize on that real quick, Danny? Because I'm not here to, defend. Listen, I'm a ball python guy. Like that's what got me into this, ball pythons, right? I would have had no fucking clue about green tree monitors or Varanus prasinus, I should say. Yeah, I call them by the scientific name. You feel me? But anyways, I would have known any of this, bro, if it wasn't for the fucking ball python. So in that defense, we're like in a different time of age. We're in a different time now, right? So it's what brings more attention to the fucking table nowadays, and it's the ball pythons. But it's also opening the eyes to people who are listening to people like you who had no idea, like just people who had no idea. So wouldn't it help to kind of start working with the ball python like community, because there's no stopping it, bro. It's huge. There's no stopping it. It's bigger than ever. But it's not like these guys are fucking idiots. Like ball pythons is what brought them in, and now they're sponges, and now they're fucking, everyone who comes to this channel, for the most part, everyone on my Patreon page, I know that, are all interested in what's important for this hobby to keep it thriving. And that's just facts, because what you're saying, how we fucked up as keepers with the ball pythons, 100%. Definitely nobody directed anybody with this shit. It was just a free for all. But now it's gone to the point where there's no stopping it. So what can you do?
All right. Well, let me back up. Ball pythons are probably one of the snakes that inspired me most as a kid. My first job working at a pet shop, I was 15 years old. I'm not going to tell you what year that was, but ball pythons were
that old. I'm 36. You're not that old, bro. Calm down.
I got 10 years on you, bitch. 10 years on you.
Okay, I would have never thought that. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's in fact.
I thought you were like barely 40 or something. I was like,
I just look good. I wear the beard good, and I condition and use berries and juices on my skin. Anyway, so listen. So working as a kid at fucking pet shops, right? Like, yeah, the ball python was a challenge. Back then there was no fucking captive breeding. Like, I used to fucking sit there and like fucking basically, if I had reached puberty, I probably would have masturbated to the fucking Barker books or the Merker books at that point, because there was nothing else in the world, right? Like, those are the only chances you got to see ball pythons hatching were in those books, right? It never happened. Right. It never happened in captivity. So actually, it's fucking crazy, man. Like, I used to go to a place, the wholesaler here, in the area that used to supply the pet shop that I worked at. And they were mainly a fish place. This place is surreal. It was this fucking place in Newark, New Jersey. Of course, if you know Newark, New Jersey, which I know you do, right? There's a warehouse in Newark, New Jersey. And it was just fucking vats and vats and rows of tanks and cages for a tropical fish importer. And the place is called Merit Fish Imports. And this is important because the guy who owned the place was responsible for discovering about like 50 different species of fish. He used to go down to the fucking Amazon himself and then fly him back to Newark, New Jersey, which was great, and establish him in the pet trade. Anyway, he had this place, and they had a small reptile section. And I used to, of course, whenever we went to go pick up fish for the shop, used to go in there. But they used to have the ball python cage. Like, it was basically like a 55 or a 75 gallon tank, and it would be halfway filled with a ball python, because people didn't use cattle troughs then. There was no fucking plastic forming then. So it was these tanks, and it's like the bottom layer, the very bottom was like dead snakes, and like the middle layers was where the middle and top layers were where the gold was. These are the active snakes that were fucking desperately trying to get out. And that's how these animals were kept, right? And I would go there, and I swear to God, I would thumb through what is now known as like morphs of these different snakes. I didn't know any better. I was a fucking 16-year-old kid. I had to wait for my boss to drive us there. I didn't even have a license yet. Like, but later on, my friend who I met, a guy named Alan Both, who owns a place here in Jersey, who's been in the reptile world forever as well. He and I lament all the time how like we were picking through these snakes and be like, oh, this thing's fucking dark and ugly, and it was probably like a melanistic or whatever the fuck morph it is. Like, it's so funny, and we would pick through these snakes. So like, I would feel terrible for these snakes, and I would bring one home, and I brought back home this fucking ball python, and I remember it was fucking massive. This fucking thing was like a good fucking 4.5, 5 footer, just fucking huge. Like, you don't see them like that anymore. They used to come in so big back then, and I remember spending the first 2 weeks of my life with it, picking the ticks off of it, and then it was probably a good like 6 or 7 months before I finally fucking ate something, right? And that was my experience with ball pythons, but it was a love. I overcame that challenge by myself. There was no fucking kingsnake.com. There was nothing. There was nowhere to look up this information. Nobody wrote books until the fucking TFH, Philippe de Vosgely, started coming out with those little fucking black and white little books and shit. And that was like the first kind of like manual for ball pythons that was like attainable, because otherwise as a kid you had to fucking buy like $125 volume on snakes that had like 2 paragraphs on ball pythons, right? So when TFH came out, I think it was TFH, came out with those black and white series of books. That was a lifesaver, man. There was shit in there. And even though they were still recommending like hot rocks and shit, it was some direction to go with these animals. So the challenge and learning to pioneer your way through a snake for me came through a ball python. But then I fell in love with every other snake that came through. And I fell in love with every other lizard that came through, and every other reptile and every other mammal at the time, because we wouldn't even get into that, right? Like, I fell in love with all these creatures that came through. And as time went on, I could understand less why so many people focused on the really funky, colorful. I mean, it was a cool novelty to see the first albino pop up and see this and that, and then see the Barkers work. I mean, the Barkers were really the pioneers for my time. To see them pop up and stuff. And then later on, see Pete Call and all these other guys. Pete Call, I remember seeing the fucking first pieds at the fuck. That's how old I am. Seeing the first pieds.
How well did you know Pete Call? Did you like know him pretty well at all? Or
yeah, I hung out at his place. Me, him, and Mark Spataro like fucking drove around like ATVs like fucking one weekend that I went to go visit him in Maryland, his farm in Maryland. And that place is surreal, man. At the time, it was a fucking huge multi-million-dollar barn. And dude, I'll never forget the room of Bolin's pythons he had, man. He had a fucking room. Him and Mark Spataro working really heavily with Bolin's at the time, and just walking into that room was crazy. And then people like, bro, check this out, and like fucking handing me like a 7-foot ball python. I mean, Bolin's python. It was just
gorgeous, I bet.
Oh God, it was just like, oh, thank you. It was great.
Yeah. I've heard nothing but legendary stories of Pete Call, and like, you know, if you want to talk about one guy I'm trying my ass off to fucking do what I got to do to bring him on, is bringing him on, but there's not really somebody you can get a hold of, from what I understand.
No, Pete's been through a lot in life, and I think he's done with everything for the most part with people. But he was such a party guy, man. All these dudes were such fucking party guys, and dude, fucking Kevin McCurley, fucking. I never knew that guy to wear shoes for the first 3 years of like me knowing him.
Wow.
Like, I've known Kevin. I'm not gonna lie. I've probably known Kevin the better part of 20 years, and I probably spent 19 of those fighting with him.
With him, right? With him.
Yeah, fighting against him. No, against him.
Oh, against him. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. Okay.
I respect Kevin. We've been through the ringer together. It's been a long journey, he and I. But yeah, we had our years together. And it started in college, man. In college. And I think you could appreciate. It started for me in college. Kevin was already nerd. I was in college. Kevin was a nerd already. And he was pretty well established as nerd. And that's irrelevant. I mean, kudos to him. He was a fucking pioneer in that sense.
Right.
But you see, remember I told you I become obsessed with animals?
Yeah.
One of the animals that I've become most obsessed with in life, and I'm still obsessed with, and that animal came to my attention in the mid-90s, and I've never, ever, ever, ever lost my love and passion for it, and that is the Emerald Tree Boa.
Oh,
So,
and Danny, I will say, man, I in which we will maybe not this episode at some point, but I do want to talk how I also respected all your responses and whatnot in the thread, like in the Emerald Tree Boa group page and shit. Like, oh my god, I just respect like your one-offs. Like you just have like a one-off thing you say, and I'm like, oh, I don't even need a comment. Like, Danny,
I got no patience for it because these motherfuckers don't know. These motherfuckers don't know. Like when I was like in college and I wanted to fucking find an Emerald Tree Boa, I had to drive 250 fucking miles for that shit. I drove down the fucking Crutchfield farm for fucking 15 hours each direction to get my first basin from him, which only ended up costing me like $600 at the time. But that for me, that was the equivalent of what it is now at the time. Like I had to fight for that shit, and these motherfuckers be like, click, click, clack, I know everything. No, fuck you. You don't even know. You have no idea. I've been through it all. I hate to admit it. I've been through fucking dozens and dozens of Emerald Tree Boas trying to deal with regurgitation syndrome. I used to take them on from people when I knew any better, before I knew any better. Just crazy. So it just drives me crazy to see people posting this shit. And I become Clint Eastwood at this point. Like I have no patience, and I'm just like, get the fuck off my lawn type deal. You know, like this is a situation. You want to make shit up. You want to think it's this and that. Go ahead. You know, or when somebody says something stupid, I have no problem calling them out. Obviously, so I'll usually call them out as well. But so before I lose it, because I'm getting really high. Kevin and I, right? So Kevin in college, I became fucking obsessed with Emerald Tree Boas, and I started collecting like really cool shit. Like I wanted the best Emerald Tree Boas there were in the country at the time. Remember I told you I was working at Wall Street at the time. Coincides opposite right now. But so I tracked down the guy who was supplying everybody, and this is the guy who literally supplied everybody. Tony Nicolai, Kevin, at the time Pete Bandris from Incredible Pets in Florida was a big name in Emerald Tree Boas. He supplied him with this shit. This guy supplied everybody. He was this dude who lived in Miami and used to fly down to Suriname and like bang all the Surinamese chicks down there and like establish himself, and then like fucking like make friends with the collectors and basically hand collect all the Tree Boas and have them ship back up here and sell them to a premium for these people. Now, did you have any possible idea who this name could be before I give it up? I'm 9 out of 10. I'm positive you're not going to know who it is, but
and it's not Tom Crutchfield, obviously, right?
No, not Crutchfield.
Is it was it Bushmaster?
Cameron? No, not Cameron. You're never because I think this guy's way off the scale. If you weren't alive at the time, and even if you were alive at the time, you probably didn't even know who this guy was. So, anyway, his name is Al Montejo.
Al Montejo.
Al Montejo is basically fucking Scarface of the Emerald Tree Boa worlds, right?
Wow.
He's a Cuban fucking playboy dude. But at the time was like in his like late 20s, early 30s. And like I said, he was getting all this shit. So he was getting basins out of Suriname left and right, dude. Left and right. That's how basins at the time were. Like you can get the shitty ones for like $500.
Wow.
So anyway, I found Al. I struck up deals with him and stuff, and I ended up putting a bounty on the best emeralds that he can get in, specifically northerns. Basins were never really my thing, honestly. I've honestly always been in love with northerns, specifically super clean northerns. I became super obsessed with what Tony had at the time was referred to as new locales, and that became my specialty later on.
Nice.
But anyway, so it became a real kind of sour point because me and Kevin would kind of compete with Al to get to Al for the best snakes, you know. So that became a big thing, and then we'd argue about that stuff. And even, I mean, up until recently, a couple of years ago, I was covering some stuff on a podcast about reticulated pythons because I have really strong opinions on them too, and I remember saying some things that Kevin took offense to, and like I was driving home from work, and he like literally calls me on my cell phone to like bitch and complain about me, and I was just like, no. I was like, wait, I was like, I'll be home in 10 minutes. We're putting this shit on tape. I was like, just sit and chill, just relax. So like, I remember fucking ran home. I ran home to my studio and I just like fucking plugged in all my fucking 18 million wires that had to be done at that time. And we had this talk about reticulated pythons, and it's on my YouTube channel called the Retic Retort, and it was great because we were going back and forth. Yeah, we were going back and forth, and it was great. Like at one point, I'm like, Kevin, and he's like, Danny. Like it was just like we were fucking like fighting. It was fucking great, But we it was great, but we kept the argument intelligent throughout, and that's why I enjoy. That's why I respect Kevin, because Kevin does like crazy shit, and he's a weirdo to a lot of people. Like I said, going back to like how people were crazy party guys, Kevin was that guy that like would spend all his nights like drunken wrestling people in the fucking lobbies of the hotels. I'm talking about like this is pre-Daytona. This is Orlando. This is Twin Towers, Orlando. This is the 90s. This is before Daytona. It got kicked out of there and then ended up going to Daytona. And I'll never forget, man, sitting there with just fucking, like in the lobby, and there's just fucking goofs, like fucking grappling. And it's like fucking Kevin, McCurley, and Pete Call, and like somebody else who jumped in later on. And it was such a fucking crazy scene because there was nowhere for anybody to go. So everybody just basically hung out in the lobby of this hotel, and it was all the who's, like Tom Crutchfield on one side, like all these people. And I'll never forget that last show. Somebody was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go talk to Philippe, gonna come over. And I'm like, Philippe who? And like, Philippe de Vosgely. I'm like the publisher of the aforementioned books that we were talking about. I'm like, fuck yeah. Right. And he was also, at the time, he was the publisher of Vivarium magazine, which was a huge thing. Vivarium magazine at the time, this is all pre-digital, of course. You have to get your shit through fucking hard copies and pictures, just like your porn, your reptiles, all of it, like no matter what it was, right? So like Vivarium magazine was a big thing, and he was the publisher of that. And I remember having a Tree Boa article that I really wanted published, and so I sat with them and I like kept buying everybody drinks at the fucking table and got him pretty happy enough where I finally sat him down. And I was like, Philippe, my name is Danny Mendez. I have an article you need to fucking publish on Emerald Tree Boa. Blah 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 blah. Make a long story short, it fucking got published. The very last article Vivarium got published, which was cool. And it was highlighting. Yeah, it was these granite emerald tree boas, which is cool. It's like the stuff that you're seeing in Europe now, which are like these really speckled, mottled yellow emerald tree boas, and they're kind of like the first at the time in the U.S. And it was great. It was a really cool article. So yeah, it was a different world back then, man. You could approach these people; they were all party animals. It was a less PC world. Yeah, it was a different world back then. It was good.
It sounds, dude. I mean, I knew you had history with this shit, but not this kind of history. Like this is fucking iconic, bro. This is epic. Now let me ask you this though, before we get off the topic with Kevin, how did your relationship where are you now with Kevin? Like, you guys talk, or like what's?
I haven't talked to Kevin in a long time. If I see him, I'll say hi to him and stuff like that. We're not friends. We're not like buddies or anything like that. We've evolved in different directions. It's nothing against Kevin. Like, I think, for what he does, he's a knowledgeable guy. He really is a knowledgeable guy. And I just know that firsthand from like following him throughout the years and our relationship throughout the years. There's a lot of stuff I don't agree with that he said. A lot of stuff I think is full of shit on. And I've called him out on it. But I think overall he's a knowledgeable guy. I'm sorry, but how do you think his brand is ran? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, I know Kevin's one person, right? And I respect the living shit out of Kevin. But his brand, like the nerd for what nerd is on the YouTube and shit like that. Well, that's where I'm at. I think what I was getting to is that we diverged a lot in where we are in the world, and I can't get behind that anymore. Just like, honestly, and this is probably like fucking like heresy to most of your audience, and I'm sorry to say that, but like I've given up on the whole like fight for your rights thing for the reptile world for that. I find a lot of hypocrisy because a lot of these vendors, I've watched them over the years. I've been there. I've seen the shit you guys do. Like, I've seen you fucking throwing animals out before a show that died or didn't make it overnight. I'm talking about everybody, top of the heap down to the fucking bottom trash vendor. Everybody does that shit. And if I for 1 second wanted to fucking like bring down the reptile industry, I would never have to deal with a single word that was said or a single action that was done. All you would need to do is fucking go to a reptile show and film the garbage cans before the show opens. It's still a fucking thing. And that's why it still pisses me off. And I'm going to get loud. We're still selling green anoles, still selling fucking horn lizards, now monitors, savanna monitors, all that stupid throwaway fucking shit, 99.9% of which is going to be fucking dead. I don't want to hear about your fucking rights. If you're okay with that, if you're allowing that shit to be sold at your reptile shows, you can donate as much fucking money as you want to USARK, but all they need to do is get 10 seconds of 50 fucking savanna monitors crammed into a clear deli container sitting on top of your fucking table, and your rights are done. I don't care how many lawyers you get, how much money you donate, you're fucked. This industry is its own fucking worst enemy, and that's why I have such a hard time supporting the hypocrisy behind it. And that's why I'm a million miles away from Kevin or anybody else that does what they do. I mean, more power to them. I'm not against what they do, but I can't support that shit anymore. My soul is way too heavy. I've seen way too much to turn a blind eye to that shit. I can't do it anymore. I can't.
This is scary. I hope I don't get like this.
It's fucking terrible, man. To see the shit that you see and to be conscious of it is a fucking horrible thing. I wish I could go to reptile shows and just drink with everybody and enjoy the fucking weekend and see the cool animals, but I can't because I'm sitting there going, fuck, that's not a good scene right there. That's going to come back and bite us. If the fucking media gets hold of that, nah. But I come from the fucking days of like Hamburg fucking PA show before they even like made you. Now if you sell or if you have to actually you can't even transfer an animal anymore. But back in those days, they used to fucking like uncup fucking containers and transfer animals to fucking like sell them to you home. And snakes would go loose in the fucking reptile shows, right? And then they'd be like, "Why are there venomous laws?" Like stupid shit like that is like I've seen way too much of it to get behind it. So I have a real hard time if you're gonna sit there and you're gonna promote shows where people are selling disposable pets, where people are selling animals that we lose. Fucking just go back 2 years ago. It was a completely different scene. When was the last time you saw, I don't know if you pay attention to shit like this, but when was the last time you saw Meller's chameleon? Like,
I mean, to be honest, I'm not too keen on chameleons, but I mean,
like a Meller's chameleon, it was fucking literally a chameleon that used to sell for $55 at shows, right? It's the second largest chameleon in the world. No one's really fucking prepared to keep one. It's very hard to keep them in captivity. They used to come in super cheap. People would display them in fucking 10-gallon tanks and shows. And now you can't even fucking touch them because they're becoming endangered species and habitat destruction is becoming an issue. So at this point, like we let the Meller's chameleon down. And I could repeat that for a million different species across the board. Snakes of all kinds, lizards of all kinds. Like, and so I have a really hard time. I don't know. I just have a really hard time with that. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not being righteous in any way. It's just the point where I am. I said I become fucking Clint Eastwood. I become that crotchety old guy, and I don't care. Like I don't.
Dude, but I think that's the problem is people they don't care and they don't fucking like I mean, God bless you. You've tried doing everything, but like people just get so fed up. They get so fucking fed up because, like you said, your soul's so heavy for this shit that you're probably just taking care of your own well-being at this point. Like it's about your mental happiness, your kids. I'm sure you have other things that you rather focus on and be happy about. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, of course. But you know what? It really comes down to the fact that I've devoted my whole life to animals. So, like, what kind of a hypocrite am I to be like I am literally the fucking person that most people call for stuff. Like, how am I going to be a fucking hypocrite and be like, oh, it's okay? You know, it's not fucking okay. It's not. I've seen so much of that shit, man. And I'm not even counting like the fucking bycatch. You know, thank God our importation has actually slowed down. In the heyday of shipping imported, I used to go when I used to work for places and like seeing entire shipments from Suriname dead, man. Like 20 basins, 50 northerns, hundreds of dart frogs, hundreds of fucking leaf frogs. Like just that shit, man. This industry has a really fucking heavy mark on it, and we've never taken the responsibility to lift ourselves above that, you know. Like there's even now I see a divergence in keepers, and frankly it comes with age. I'm noticing, like I see people like Crutchfield, like Keith McPeak, like all these guys that are really just focusing on doing the best they possibly can for an animal or a handful of animals, a couple of animals, instead of focusing on a room full of racks. These guys are providing, you know, going out of the box thinking. And that's kind of the thing where I'm behind right now. That's kind of where I feel my soul is at. Like I like these people that are really trying to give me the biggest possible enclosures to animals, provide varied diets and stimuli to them. Even monitors alone, like we owe monitor lizards so much, man. This industry was built on so much blood, monitor lizard blood. Niles and savannas alone have paid the price, and things that used to be common that we don't see anymore. All the tree monitors, every single one of them, we used to see them constantly. We don't see them anymore. Timber monitors, all the dwarves, we don't see that shit, and we lost our chances. So it's like, you like monitors? That's great, but you gotta do something, man. And I know not everybody can be Frank Reitz, or not everybody can be whoever. Like a Crutchfield, like I know not everybody can do that, but we gotta do better. We gotta do so much better than we're doing right now, because we don't have a leg to stand on. Like look, trust me, I'm the old fart in front of you right now. Once again, I'll reiterate, I've seen the evolution now. Right?
Everyone I brought on, and I brought in some people who've been in this shit longer than you have, and you've been in this for a long time. Nobody has spoken about this shit until now. Like, you are the first one to come out with the realization of the shit that you've been brought up with, like the shit that you're not, you can't turn the head on. Like, it's just, I don't know.
One of my biggest turnoffs, if I was able to graph a chart of my interest in keeping reptiles and how over the years it's declined, there's an equal curve that's the exact opposite that coincides with herping.
Right.
As I've been lucky enough to travel the world and see these animals in the wild, I have zero desire to ever slap them into a cage again. I'm not being like holier than thou, whatever, but common shit. Like, you watch a fucking coach whip hunt. I watched coach whips hunt for like 45 minutes. There's no way you can supply what that animal needs, in the wild, in captivity. And there's some animals, and that's the thing that the reptile people have a real hard time understanding. There are some fucking reptiles that we just do not keep. There's just no need to keep them. They just don't do well. Horn lizards, once again, those disposable horn lizards that die because who's going to supply them with ants, right? And there's just shit we don't need to keep, and we need to learn that. And I think along those lines too, even how the way we keep things, we take it way too for granted. Like we simplify things. We simplify things way too much. Reticulated pythons. Once again, I know we're probably gonna harp on this. I'm gonna piss people off by talking about this, but like, that's a snake that not everybody should have. And if you're gonna keep it, you need to dedicate a whole fucking room, because if you've seen the difference between a reticulated python over at Jay Brewer's place that's lived this whole fucking life out in a fucking 2x6 cage versus keeping them as I've kept them in a zoo exhibit that's a fucking 25 by 40 by 60 enclosure with a 150 gallon pool.
Can I say something real quick, Danny?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Guess how many retics are leaving my place this weekend?
How many?
6 adults. 6 big ass adults. Because guess what? I went to go visit Brian Barczyk's place, the Reptarium, and I see where he keeps his 18-foot fucking retic that's actually perched. Like, this fucking thing was on top of something. Like, it was not even on the floor. It was perched. And I'm like, bro, why do we keep things in 6x2s and fucking 8x2s? And my heart instantly, I felt like a piece of shit, bro. And I was like, dude, I'm not keeping these retics. This is fucked up. I was like, I knew these things probably would like to climb, and they can't do shit. Like, they're just like, you know what I mean? And they like food, man. You know what I mean? But anyways, I love my retics.
Good on you for having that insight, because that's exactly how I learned it. And ironically, it was a snake from Kevin. At the time, I was a zookeeper. I was the lead reptile keeper at a place here in Jersey called Turtleback Zoo. And they had a 19-foot retic that they got from Kevin. And it was in that giant fucking enclosure with a rock cliff and a fucking tree, bro. We had a fucking like 18-inch round felled tree in there. That fucking snake would perch up there like a chondro.
Yeah,
it was the most beautiful thing I've ever fucking seen. I knew when she was hungry. When she was hungry, she'd fucking go wait in her pool with her head on the side of the pool, like waiting in ambush position.
Wild.
Yes. And to see that, you can't put that. And I've had retics. I love retics. But you know what? I've had retics, and I fucking had them have a head rub. The second I had that happen, I'm done. Like, when I had them having head rubs, I was like, I can't keep that animal happy. Like, it wants more food, it wants more exercise. It's like fucking trying to keep a fucking border collie in an apartment and you're like, I can do this. No, you can't, motherfucker. And just understand that. And that's one of the things this industry really pisses me off about, that is that we don't understand it, and it really freaks me the fuck out. and this is not knocking anybody, but I'm gonna knock people. Freaking people like Jay Brewer are fucking producing thousands of retics, and I'm not talking about the sought after ones. I'm talking about the byproducts, right? The non-visuals and shit like that. Where are those animals going, man?
Hey, I'm listening. Keep talking.
Yeah, where are those animals going? And more importantly is, why aren't they around, or why aren't older animals around? That's something that drives me crazy, because if you know anything about keeping reticulated pythons, you know they are super long-lived animals. They are not animals that, you know, will typically die off in 5 or 6 or 7 years. I mean, we're talking 20, 30 years quite easily from this species. So it really freaks me out that all these animals are being released out there. Nobody's been keeping them to full size long term. Nobody's been keeping them for years and years on end. And once again, that's one of those loose ends that I think we expose ourselves with, that we open ourselves up to people like animal rights groups and anti-pet legislation, and that's where we screw each other up. That's the shit that fucks us up, and that's the shit that we have to change and do better on, because once again, we don't deserve to sit there and say, you know, I want my rights to keep this and that, and we don't. Look what happened with Florida. We fucked up in Florida.
Danny, I will say it's crazy. Everything you're saying, man, Jesus Christ, we're gonna have so many rounds after this, no homo. But everything you're saying is just fucking hitting right on the goddamn target, because, you know, I got ball python guy, right? Like, wow, look at all these morphs, fucking amazing, beautiful things. And then next thing you know, like a retic. And then there's fucking things you could do with retics. And so just like with the ball pythons, I got the retics when they're babies. And I'm like, these things are amazing. And I'm like, fuck, these things are growing up pretty big. Now they're in tubs. Like after, like within the first year, like they're outgrowing their tubs. And I'm like, this doesn't really feel right. I'm telling myself, I don't really feel right about, I don't think these retics need to be in tubs, but this is, I don't know better, right? Until, okay, rest in peace, my boy Forrest Fanning. Do you know who Forrest Fanning was?
Yeah, of course.
Right, my best friend. But he's the reason why I even did a podcast, is my boy, right? But he was in town. He's like, MJ, meet me at Prehistoric Pets. Meet me at Jay's. I'm like, okay, cool. I would like, you know, Jay, Drake, Prehistoric Pets. Fuck, I'm down to go. I want to go. Why not? You know, super excited to go. We get there, and, you know, it's busy. It's a fucking shit show. Mad people there, right? And it's just like what you see on Instagram. You know, it's like, wow, like, look, you know, this is where he does all his stuff, right? All I got to say, man, I'm very observant. I'm very like, you know, oh, cool. Where are we going? We're going behind the scenes. He has a breeder. He has a breeder room, and like how you have stories of the fucking the gecko or whatever dying in a deli cup. The shit I saw, I will never ever take out. I can't erase it out of my mind, even if I wanted to. But I could tell you right then and there, that's when I was like, I am never breeding a retic in my entire fucking life. I will keep all these things as pets, and I'll love them, but I am never, ever gonna fucking breed these things, because, dude, there was fucking snakes. I'm talking about 6-7 foot retics crammed in a 28 quart tub. Like, I'm talking about, like, they're coming out of the tub, like they're pushing out, and I'm trying to be respectful. I remember I'm recording, and I just stopped recording. I'm like, I'm not recording this shit. Like, this is fucking, you know, and like, you know, Forrest has been around a lot longer than I have, so I don't know if he was just like, yeah, you know, this is kind of the typical shit, you know what I mean? But bottom line, man, after I saw that, I knew I don't want anything to do with this retic game. No offense to that. But then it went from that to then seeing how Brian kept his, and how they don't want to be fucking just on the ground, kept in a little cubicle. You know what I mean? Like, it just all like, it was like, you know what I mean? I love animals, and I'm not going to fucking turn the cheek on something like that, on something I love. So and it was like no question after that. I was like, I'm getting rid of the retics. I'm like, I'm finding someone who really has that zoo mentality, like a Crutchfield or a Barcheck, somebody who wants to give it all the space in the world, and that's where they're going. And that's what I did. I fucking found them just like that. And now, bro, I feel like the most less piece of shit. I still feel like a piece of shit, because I do keep other snakes in tubs, and it is what it is. But they're not these retics, because these retics are so gigantic. But anyways, man, I've only been in this for 4 years, Danny, and a lot of this shit I'm learning, it's hitting home, and I just know that I'm not the only ball python keeper out there who's listening to this and is like, fuck, bro, this is crazy. Like, I didn't know this. You know what I mean? Like, you got years of this shit.
You know how, like, when you go, I don't know if you've ever been to like a fish wholesaler or even like a Petco, but you know how they have like a fucking clownfish, and it's like sitting in an acrylic cube because it goes and kicks the shit out of all the fish, right? And that's how that fish is kept, right? People will keep fish like that, right? But when you slap that clownfish in a 50-gallon tank with an anemone and lighting and the proper environment, it becomes a whole different experience, right? And the same happens. Ball pythons, man, don't underestimate your ball pythons. They fucking climb, they hunt, they're active, they deserve more. So like, you know, I hate that the whole plan, and I get it, I understand that, right? I'm sitting 10 feet away from a freedom breeder rack. I can't complain.
Shout out the freedom breeder.
Yeah, shout out freedom breeder, amazing at racks. I'm sitting next to a freedom breeder rack, but granted, right now I have a 20-inch Suriname Reptile boa on one of them, and it's like a fucking 4-foot tub. But anyway, like I understand racks, and I am even with my tree boas. Like when I start off babies, I like to start them off in racks, and then I try to give them the biggest cages possible. Don't like, I hate that we've gotten into this mindset, man. I'm probably gonna catch shit for this too, but I hate that we all think that like everything fits into a fucking Exoterra or a Zilla cage. No. That's just like, that's the industry making cookie cutter shit. Don't fucking buy into that. Fucking make your own enclosures, man. Like, give the animals the biggest possible space you can give it. I promise you'll be so much more rewarded than having 4 snakes in a tub in a rack that you don't see is nothing compared to one fucking snake. Even if it's a fucking dude, my snake, my most favorite snake in the whole fucking world, is the most boring snake in the whole fucking world. The Emerald Tree Boa does fucking nothing. It takes a shit once a month, and you want to have a fucking party, right? Like, it's just.
I got something for you, Danny, and this is, I've never done this before on any show because it's all about the guest, but hold on.
Okay. Uh-oh. I'm scared. Is this like the nudes that you sent me? I hope not. I'm still recovering. That was scary. Look at you. You beautiful fat bitch. I love it.
You're so fat. All right, here.
Dude, that's my heart right there, man. I love a northern. I'm such a sucker for a northern. Oh, look at that beautiful speckling. Nice. Who's that? Who'd you get that from?
Will Shores. He's a
nice
United States Captain Border bred. She just turned 4. And yeah, I'll be breeding her at the end of this year, man. But
my heart, I love it. That's perfection to me. As crazy as it sounds, I'll take that over a basin. Like a big, fat, healthy northern to me is just. And then of course, like the new locales, like stuff that like Ryan's working with and stuff.
There he is. Look, Ryan Wilson, man. He's the man.
Yeah, Ryan. You know what I'm talking about, Ryan, right? It's like right up there. It's like Salma Hayek or Northern Emerald Tree Boa. Salma Hayek and J-Lo. Or Northern Emerald Tree Boa. And then like, ring. Hey, Ryan, I just got my stimmy check. I want something from you. So yeah, no, I get it, man. Believe me. Like just it's just fucking sexy and beautiful. And I love Northerns. And yeah, there's just, so, you know, for me, so if you take that fucking Northern that doesn't move more than fucking 6 inches in any direction and you give it the most beautiful fucking cages, next thing you know, you're fucking keeping plants. Like, because they look good in the cage. And you're just doing
Dude, I got pothos in all my water bowls. Every water bowl has a pothos plant in it. Like little.
Bro, I fucking go in Miami and I fucking come back on the plane like some fucking old Cuban ladies with fucking sprigs of pothos that I steal from all the different botanical gardens that I visit and shit down there that grows out of control because they get the fucking leaves that are this big and shit. So like I get it. Like you get into that shit. And that just to me that is how you grow as a keeper, because if you're gonna keep that snake in a fucking box, if you're gonna keep that snake in a Tupperware container, not that there's nothing wrong with keeping him in a Tupperware container, but like you're not gonna get the same as like setting it up, you know, naturalistically and nicely. Don't go crazy. Don't fucking be like all like like bio-organic and shit like that, because when your snake takes a dump, there's nothing's gonna break that down. You just gotta fucking clean it.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way, Danny, because people are like, "Oh, like bioactive isn't the enemy," but I'm like, I feel like you're right, but there's a certain level to it. Like, don't just go dig dirt out of your backyard and fucking toss it in a cage and be like, I got this. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like,
nah, and you can get all the fucking isopods you want, and when you fucking get that 3-week Emerald Tree Boa territory, nothing breaking that shit down. That shit looks like it came from a Great Dane. You're gonna walk in there thinking fucking, you know, Marmaduke walked into your enclosure, because nah.
Fucking Danny.
Like that.
Dude, but honestly, man, I before we get off the topic of emeralds, I will say, man, I love basins, man. I do love basins, but like I've seen like the shit that Ryan Wilson has, and you know the Miss Willie lines and stuff that Forrest has and shit, and I'm like, I don't know, man. It's I can't really just say, oh, basins are the answer for me. It's not that easy, because I fucking love these northerns. These northerns, bro. Oh my, and like they're so textbook gorgeous. Like it's not like, oh well, this one's like, no, it's like really simple shit that they have that just makes them so amazing in what they are, bro. And
so my theory is this, and I think this is something that like what Ryan is creating right now, which I gotta say shout out to Ryan. I know he's here right now. I just fucking love his work because he's kept that whole thing. Remind me to tell you a Miss Willie story. I got a good Miss Willie story. Anyway, so you know, when animals, think of dogs, right? You have the wolf, and it's now split off into a million different breeds, right?
Right.
If you were to theoretically take all those breeds proportionately and breed them all back together, you would come back to the wolf. Because genetically, that's the basis, right? So with emerald tree boas, that's what I feel that the new locale northern is. I feel like the new locale northern is the wolf. And then over its range, it's split up. And one part of its range gets that muddled 1/3 look. And the other portions of the range, more closer to like the southern part, like Brazil, Colombia, they stay super clean white all the way up to the back of the neck. So with me, I'm in love with what I call proto emerald, which is Tony's classic new locales, which is the new locales I've kept, which is what Ryan's got, which Willie has contributed to, which is this snake with massive eye spots, clean white all the way through, and just drips on the edges of those saddles and those forms. Like, bro, I swear to God, literally, there's just nothing more perfect than that. I would just, oh God, it's just the most beautiful snake there is. There's nothing more perfect than that. And that's what I'm obsessed with. That's what I've been obsessed with since Tony's beginnings of his first litter of the new locales, which came in gravid, actually. I don't know if people know that, but she came in gravid, and she came in gravid and gave birth to new locale babies. And it was like, oh, fuck, you know?
What year was this, Danny, if you don't mind?
I want to say 93, 94-ish, maybe.
Wow, dude. So you're taking it back.
Yeah, that was like the first years, man. And then like a couple years later, like in 97, I became obsessed with the hybrids after seeing the Barker's article in the Reptiles magazine. And then I ended up getting my hands on like 5 of the most spectacular fucking hybrids that existed. Unfortunately, 2 of them came to me in really fucked up condition, which I'm still pissed off. I still to this day have not been on good terms with that person because of that. So yeah. Shit. And that sucks because he's like an icon.
You know what's crazy you say that too is like, man, there's also like things that are shitty about this community or not. I mean, just as a whole, you know, is that you see somebody you look up to and you fucking like, you know, you say you love them. Like, man, I can tell you right now, like the breeders I look at now and that I look up to are like the way I used to look up at WWFU superstars as a kid. Like I just so into what they're doing, right? But then when you fucking see somebody who just doesn't act the way they present themselves, right? Which is something as simple as like selling a fucking really expensive animal and it dies, or just something so simple, right? That's an easy fix, and you can't fucking do the right thing. And that right there could just leave such a bad taste in someone's mouth where they don't even want to work with the animal no more. They just fucking say fuck this, like, because the person's too popular in the community, and like, you know, like, what can I do? Like, this fucking everyone's fucking on his dick, and even if I say anything, they're all gonna fucking suck his dick over it anyways. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's not just in emeralds. I'm talking about like in generalities, like almost like fucking carpets, scrubs, like ball pythons. It doesn't matter. Like there's always like somebody who. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I see. That's unfortunate. That's the reptile hobby once again as a whole. That's why like people tolerate like smuggled shit. You know, that's like people who keep like things like abronia lizards and like all those Mexican things that come through. You know, that shit hasn't had quotas for fucking decades now.
Yeah.
And it's coming like fucking fresh out, and people buy them because a lizard that was formerly $1,600 is now available for $150. And they're like, I'm not going to fucking make waves about it. I'm just going to fucking cash in on that. So, you know, it happens. I see it with all kinds of snakes. I see it with a lot of stuff, mostly over the border stuff like Mexico. And it's a shame. And I think it's because, once again, like, it's why people tolerate people who habitually, there are people in the hobby who habitually deliver bad stuff, or who have been known to even fucking do illegal shit with regards to animals. I'm not talking about their personal life. Like, there's some fucking scumbags out there. There are big names that fucking I will never forgive for their illegal shit. So like, yeah,
There's 30 books on some people, if I remember. I mean, there's like, right?
What did you say? Sorry, I missed that.
There's even books on certain people of the shit that they've done in this community, like in this reptile game.
Oh yeah, there's great books. I mean, The Lizard King, Stolen World. Stolen World is really great too.
What was that? Say that one more time. What was that one?
Stolen World.
Stolen
World by Jenny Aaron Smith. A fantastic fucking book. And it kind of is all about, and by the way, he's a really close friend, but it's all about the dark side of Tom Crutchfield.
Oh boy, I'm into it. I mean,
yeah, and it highlights his rivalry with Hank Mole and the whole Fiji thing. It's a great book. Jenny is actually a good friend of mine, and she's a New York Times bestseller author, and she actually lived with Tom Crutchfield for about a month during this book writing process. So she experienced a lot of this shit firsthand. It was pretty interesting. Yeah, Stolen World. Yeah, thanks, Andy. Stolen World's a great book, man. So yeah, but like I said, I love Tom. Tom's a good friend of mine. I went to Australia with with Patty, his ex-wife or ex. I have very deep roots, and that's what's weird about this whole industry too. I have to comment on is the fact that you can't take things. It's very hard to take things at just face value to be like, I write this person off because of this or that. Like there's so many complex personalities. Like people like Tom Crutchfield was a smuggler. Like, yeah, he was a smuggler, but don't forget he fucking was around during a time when it was legal to do this shit for the majority of his time keeping reptiles. Like you could fucking hop on a plane and fly to the Bahamas and take home as many iguanas and boas as you wanted, and customs wouldn't even stop you.
Wait, hold on real quick, Danny. It's funny that you say that because, Tom Crutchfield, and I don't even know Tom, haven't met him, but I respect him where he does now and stuff. But with all this shit that he's had in his past, and people clearly know about it, how come there's no nobody do this, but I'm just saying, like, how come there's no Facebook hate pages on him? Like, how come there's no fucking, are there? I haven't, I'm sorry. I'm too busy seeing not as much, but like in the beginning, everything was primarily around bar check. You know what I mean? And I didn't, I don't want to get into that because I'm just saying, regardless, like I didn't understand why, and I kept but all I got to say is I feel like nowadays, I just feel like
here's the thing, right? Here's I'm just gonna cut you off real quick because I want to lose this thought. Here's the difference in that. The difference in that is that you can talk shit about bar check. He's not going to do anything about it. You talk shit about Tom Crutchfield, he's going to punch you in the face when he sees you. So there's a little bit of a difference there. So I think people are less prone to talk shit about people in that sense. And so it really just basically comes down to keyboard warriors and people who have not met him or know him. That's why I say it's so fucking complex with these guys. Because I'm 110% conservation based. I am all for the animals always, but Tom Crutchfield, he did what he did, but at the same time, he's taught me so much because he's an open book. You can ask him anything about his experiences, and he'll tell them to you with no remorse, and he'll tell you how great he was at because he's a big ego guy and stuff like that. So, he's valuable in the overall sense, and he's taught me more about smugglers and the mindset and why these guys do what they did. And like I said, once again, I understand and I fault him less. He grew up in a time when he was collecting reptiles in the 50s, 60s through the 70s, when you can hop on planes, go anywhere, and bring an animal back with no paperwork, literally in your bag. There's no extra machines, nothing. And then when the law, all of a sudden, look how hard of a time we're having to adapting to laws changed on a state level when we restrict certain species of snakes. Like, here in New Jersey, you can't keep a normal corn snake, right? It's fucking absurd, right? But that's how these guys felt back then when it was like, what are you fucking kidding me? For the last 20, 30 years, I've been fucking putting bimini boas in my suitcase every week and selling them for $50 a piece. Now you're going to tell me I can't do this shit anymore? Get the fuck out of here. And then they're just going to fucking go and keep doing that. And then eventually they get busted or something else happens like that. So it's just hard evolving mindset, with these guys. It's not black and white. And in all the years of interviewing people, even people like Joe Exotic, I realize there's so many fucking complex layers to these people that there's no line that is good or bad. It's all very blurred. One person is fighting for good and they're perceived as the bad guy, and another person is doing the opposite, always.
Right. And I feel like the one who's doing the most, though, is the one that's always going to be the one getting shitted on, because I'll tell you right now, bro. I mean, everything we were just talking about with Jay, and fuck, I've had lunch with Jay. Like I'm not here to say Jay's a fucking like demon. I mean, I'm just saying based off what I saw, I don't want nothing a part of that. That's just not me. I don't want to be that kind of keeper. But then I go and I go to places like Brian Barczyk's and I get inspired. I'm like, what the fuck? This is amazing. This is what I want to strive for someday if I want to keep animals. But he's like on the same spectrum of him when it comes to fucking clickbait and fucking YouTube sensation, and you're fucking literally just XX and that. You see what I'm saying? I don't see them as the same person. Like I don't. They're not the same animal keeper. Maybe same YouTube, YouTube star, I guess. But when it comes to animal keeping, they are not the same person, bro. They're not even a little.
Absolutely not. No, it's a totally different world. There's totally different levels of knowledge there. There's entertaining, and then there's actually doing things the right way. And sadly, most of the time, doing things the right way is only exciting like initially, and then that's it. And then it's stagnant, and that's the life of the animals that we choose to keep. So it's like people who keep tarantulas, which I know you have no concept of. But
my dad loves them. My dad has a birdie. My dad has one of those blue big. Okay. Oh God!
So I'm saying like most of those spiders, I love them to fucking death, but you have a fucking pet hole if you're doing it right. Like you're just looking at a fucking hole all day long, and you throw food and it comes out for like 2 seconds, and you're like, oh my God, that was great, and then that's the last thing you see for like fucking a month, right? But you get satisfaction out of that, and that's what animal keeping is. So for a YouTube kind of mentality to keep the excitement going, it's harder, and so it's not based in reality. Don't confuse YouTube with reality, people. Please don't.
It's not.
No, it's not. It's entertainment. It should be perceived no differently than back in the day. Once again, I will sit here and I will fucking preach my blasphemy once again and say things will probably get me hated. But like shit, like fucking Steve Irwin, man. Like I met Steve Irwin. Like my friends have worked with him, and it was all bullshit back then, just like it is now. And some people only remember him as a god. Other people remember his bossy ass wife and fucking barring animals that are being manhandled for fucking video shoots. Like, who depends who you talk to? It depends who you talk to.
I heard something too, man. That Steve Irwin's dad isn't really too involved with the family. Like he's like,
oh my God, he's talked about it on my show. It's it's fucking heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Terrible. Like your own dad, like that. And I don't know. Do you think and did that happen after Steven died, or was it already like going on when he was around?
Okay, so I'm gonna say this. Here's a little bit of inside information. So I want all of our art trap listeners to listen very closely. Put the volume up on your computer. Put your headphones up. Listen to what I'm about to say very closely.
Turn it up. Hey, thank you everyone got their likes up. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Terry Irwin is a cunt. That's all you need to know. I can tell you that on a personal basis. I can tell you that from an experience basis. So here's what happened. Real quick, Bob Irwin started Australia Zoo. Literally with his fucking own hands. He built the exhibits. He caught and brought in the animals. He raised Steve in that environment. Steve developed his love for the animals at that zoo and became what he became before the world knew him. Steve was always Steve before he was Steve on TV. It's exactly the Steve Irwin you get in private, in person. Like, when you talk to people in private and you talk to them as their personalities, even myself, like you get two different people, right? That's not Steve. So anyway, it was a genuine love and passion from a really genuine love and passionate place, which was made by his father, this place, Australia Zoo. So whatever, long story short, Steve falls in love with Terry Irwin. They get married. Terry loves the fucking spotlight. She's digging all this shit. At this point, they're at the highlight of their career. They're making fucking mad loot. Australia Zoo's getting, like, the fucking seams are busting with tourists coming through. They're expanding. They're buying properties next door, getting huge, right? At the fucking epitome of this, what happens? Steve dies. And fucking Terry's sitting there left, like, what the fuck now, right?
Right.
So at this point, she decides to get total grasp of the zoo and all of its rights and things like that. She pushes Bob Irwin out of the zoo. He's disinvited from ever visiting there again. Wow. Since that point, he's never been in contact with her or the children. This is before Robert was born. This is when Bindi was still a toddler, when Steve died. I'm sorry, that's not true. Obviously, Bob was born a little bit after that, but it was when Bob was very, very young. I think he had just only met him, Robert. And so from that point on, he's never seen those kids. And at this point, he's at the point where, Bindi's gonna have a kid and shit, and he was never even invited to the wedding. He'd never met those kids. He doesn't know anything about Robert. And the whole time, Terry is sitting there and she's fucking grooming this kid to be Steve 2.0 in like sickening fucking fashion. Yeah. Like if you see it, you recognize it. It's like, oh, come on, man. Like his mannerisms and shit. That's just all fucking a bad carbon copy, right? So that's the thing. So like she's trying to run this empire and she's trying to capitalize it, and the zoo's been losing money for a lot of time now. And now with Bindi and Robert getting older, they're starting to come back around and get a couple more deals now with some of the TV networks, but they still cut Bob out. He's never met his grandkids basically at this point, and he's going to be dead soon. He's going to be dead in the next year or two, I think, unfortunately.
Oh my God, that is fucked up, bro. And
his legacy is going to be gone. He tried to start a foundation, which is why he cut ties with me, because he wanted to have this kind of clean attitude for his foundation. And he started a foundation to try to preserve wildlife, but it's obviously not going to have the legacy that Steve did. And it's a fucking horrible shame. He's going to be deleted from history when he dies. Like that is it. It's fucking terrible. It really is. And the most ironic thing is that Steve lost his mom, and that was, of course, was devastating to him. But he loved his stepmom just the same afterwards. Nobody could ever take his dad's place. He fucking loved his dad, and his dad loved him. They were all about each other. They owe their existence to each other. Like, they backed each other up in the pits with the Crocs. They taught each other everything they know. They upgrade each other. Like, so I know for a fact that Steve is rolling in his fucking grave, that his father is being treated like absolute fucking garbage, bro. He's being treated like some fucking piece of shit that has not met his grandkids and is not entitled to any of the money and monies that she's earning off of the Irwin name, not only in fucking TV deals, but in trying to sell shit out, over there at the zoo. It's absurd.
That's so fucked up.
It is. There's all these little fucking amazing micro stories in all of these worlds, man. It's
like, I'm sure that's not even like, we haven't even broke the mold. Like, there's so many of these fucked up stories.
Oh my God, you have no idea.
They're just brushed under rugs. You know what I mean? Why everything is being glorified on top. It's like, I don't know. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm going to tell you right now. I had an episode, I don't know how long ago. I tried to air something out. And whatever it was, it hit one of my old sponsors the wrong way. And he dropped me. Like, he said, you know what? Your podcast, man, no offense, it's not good for the hobby. And I'm like, not good for the hobby. And this is after him being a sponsor for a good year. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I'm getting tons of feedback. Everyone does not like the podcast. Like, it's not good, man. You're not sending a good message. And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck? Like, I have a Patreon page. I have people who are like fucking rallying me every day. Like, I'm so confused. Like, and I didn't go and blast this shit. I didn't say, hey, can you look at this? Like, look what he's saying. But like, I took that as like, this is the hobby. So this is the fucking kind of shit. Like, oh, you're the one to expose some things. Fuck that. I don't want nothing to do with you. And nobody else does either. Nobody other, we're good. It's exactly what.
This is why I openly say I don't support the hobby. The hobby is disgusting. The commercialization of it is really the fun part. I love the people. I love, like you said, you know what? Like, everyone I fucking meet online is a fucking douche canoe. Like, I fucking hate most of these people that I meet online.
Oh my God!
Right? They're jerks. But you fucking go to a reptile show and you make friends for life.
You do.
You meet these people for 5 minutes and you fucking fall in love with them, and I'm friends with people that I met once at a reptile show 10 years ago. They're still my fucking friends on Facebook, and they're still wishing me happy fucking birthday and congratulations on all the shit that happens in life. Like, those are the experiences that are out there that you have to make. Don't fucking be some bitch who's gonna sit there complaining about everything on fucking Facebook, because nobody cares. You're one of a fucking trillion. You know what? Anybody who knows anything is not gonna give a fuck. Fuck you. You you get offended by what I say, fuck you. Like, it's what I believe. I'm entitled to. You're on my page, fuck you. Like,
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Do something better. Be better than me, so then you have something to say. Like, whatever. Don't get me started.
God damn it. I love it. It's simple. Be better. Nobody gives a fuck, even if you are being better. Good for you. But reach down into your goddamn fucking soul, if you have one, and just be better. Fuck your followers. Fuck your goddamn fucking subscribers. Dig deep into your soul and be fucking better.
Look, you know what, man? When I was fucking around and I was playing the game, I had probably twice the amount of followers that I have now on Instagram, right? And that's because I was playing the game, you know? And you know what? Like, I never talked to any of those people. I never responded to any of those fucking people when they posted on my shit. I never posted back to any of that shit. I'm down to half the following, but those people that have been there are the same people who have been there for years. And because, like, I don't have to water things down for them. Like, I'm not going to get the message, oh, that's really mean of you to say, Danny. Like, really? You actually took the time to type that out, you know? Like, I don't care. So, like, eventually, just be true to yourself, and your true followers will be there, and they will make more profound connections. I mean, there's fucking people I truly love. Bro, there's people...
Patreon members, man. I fuck with my Patreon members.
You know what? I have a Patreon, it's a very small one, and I've never really like put any content on it to justify it. But I have to say that for like those people following you now, that for them to show you that dedication directly for your flavor of what you do, yeah, that's pretty fantastic, and that's so important to a producer. That's so important to a creator like MJ. So those of you guys who really support the channel, keep supporting him and letting him know, because that's really important to these guys. He busts his ass. This guy, you know, he's not putting on a show that he didn't start this fucking show at 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and be like, oh, heard it. Like, he prepped, he got his shit together, he did research, like, you know, like, appreciate what these fucking people do for you. When I used to do my show, I used to stress. My show was 1 day a week. I don't know how the fuck you do multiple, but like my show was 1 day a week on Friday nights, and I fucking the only day I got to fucking rest was Saturday. Sunday through Thursday was just a nightmare. Coming up with content, lining up guests, making it producing like the music, the intro, like so much work goes into this, and people don't appreciate that shit. And it's a shame, because it's very easy to be like, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. No, you're not, motherfucker. You have no fucking idea what it takes, the dedication that it takes to fucking put yourself out there and put your heart and soul into like your art. This is art, basically, you know.
And want to know something crazy, Danny? This may go past a lot of my viewers' heads. No offense, but some people wonder why I bring a ball python breeder on who hasn't been here that long, maybe doesn't have a big following, but they have such a good rhythm going for their YouTube channel, because that takes fucking work. That's grind. Like, if I see that you're committed to something like that, if you're gonna do something, especially with animals, you better fucking go full throttle with it. You know what I mean? You better not go half-assed. You know what I mean? And I love that shit. I thrive off shit like that, and I bring it to the channel as much as I can.
I hate when people are willing to go with the norm. Like, don't buy a cage because that's what the fucking pet store person tells you to. Don't fucking feed your dog a food that your veterinarian tells you to. Figure your shit out on your own, man. Not to say once again dating myself. Like, I didn't have the fucking power of the internet and my fucking phone my whole life. I had to fucking go and talk to people, meet people, do research at fucking libraries, schools, colleges, whatever. Like, it was such a harder world to get where you are. Like, don't take for granted that you have everything just right here in your hands. It gives you such a fucking boost, because now you know the basics that are tried and true. It's available to you, and you can now fucking jumpstart that and fucking move into the fucking atmosphere with doing things differently and blowing people away. I mean, look at the whole, like, we were talking about, like, the whole fucking, like, you know, bioorganic thing. Like, that was fucking unheard of like 5 years ago, really. Nobody cared to do like fucking that kind of setup. And now, like, I have to sit there and talk idiots out of trying to do it for their fucking Burmese pythons. Like, whatever.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
These motherfuckers would be like, I'm fucking making like bioorganic setup for my Burmese python. I'm like, yeah, good luck with that Clydesdale shit, motherfucker.
Put fucking a row of daisies right there. Oh yeah, I got orchards growing. You fucking, oh my god.
The thing shits out a human baby. You think that's gonna decompose, motherfucker? You better fucking flushing that shit down the toilet and blaming it on the neighbors.
That right there, that's fucking common. That is so funny. Now, I kind of want to talk, since you're kind of like, you know, you kind of giving me words of wisdom here with you know, the dedication part of putting content out and stuff like that. But you built some really good relationships, man, from what I've seen, and one of those being, and I know this probably brought you a lot of attention, but fucking Joe Exotics, man. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Joe Exotics. You know, even prior of him having, you know, Tiger King. You know what I mean? Like, because obviously you knew him, right? Like,
yeah, way before that. Just a word of warning: I'm losing you on my headphones, so if it switches off and you hear an echo, something, it's because my laptop might pick up. But anyway,
you're good.
So, yeah, Joe Exotic. Fuck, where do I even begin, man? I think I first got his. I first saw him or heard of him probably around like 2015, 2014. At the time, he was a gay,
like really gay, like very gay,
like outspoken polygamist. Like he had his husbands at the time. He had two husbands. He was an outspoken gay polygamist tiger keeper. Fucking win, right?
And all things.
All like that's fucking hitting all the fucking bells on the head for a fucking radio show, right? Well, you know what the fuck I was walking into with this guy, man. This guy's a fucking character when I brought him on. Like, he was fucking saying some shit, and it was crazy. And then he was the type of guest where throughout the career of my show, which like Urban Jungle spanned for about a decade, like throughout the whole decade, I had to bring this guy on every fucking year or two, just because he did something absurd constantly. Like, he'd be fucking running for president, he'd be attacked by something or whatever, fighting some disease, or his fucking battles with Carol Baskin, like his fucking video shows, right? Wow. So he ended up being a regular guest like every year. And it's so funny, like the second or third time I interviewed him, he sent me a care box, a lot reminiscent of what you were just doing at the beginning of your show. He sent me a care box and I opened it up on air, and man, I should not have done that. Well, I should have done it. It was great that I did it, but it's fucking the most hilarious fucking thing. Unfortunately, I don't have video of it, but I do have the audio. It's on the show. But he sent me a fucking giant box, and to this day I treasure this, and I still have them. Of gay men's underwear, candy, condoms, pamphlets, and magazines, and a shirt, and a shirt. And bro, I have the underwear. I'll fucking put them on for you.
That's round two. That's round two shit for sure.
I can find them. They're shiny red. They're in my drawer somewhere over there. But anyway, so he sent me boxes of these underwear, man. I had like 24 pair of them. It was fucking great. And I love this dude from then on. Like, I fucking fell in love with Joe Exotic from then on, right? And so I had him on the show constantly. And like I said, I still have some of these underwear. And like that year, like we ended up going to Croc Fest, me and Andy, for the show. And we stole Dave Kaufman's camera and I filmed my nipples. But besides that, I gave away those underwear to Sean Hefflick, who was our host, and a couple of Canadian guys. And then me and my co-host also rocked a pair. And we decided to rock a pair for charity. Like, we would say that we would strip down to those underwear if people made a bid over, like, I think it was like $200. And somebody bid over $200. So we ended up stripping down to those underwear. And it's like a picture on my timeline. It's like infamous now. So we were all rocking the Joe Exotic underwear, and it was so gay. It was great because these underwear are like really tight and they're shiny. But the best part is because they're so gay because they have a fucking like pouch for your package in the front to like exaggerate it. Like, you know, like normal underwear, like you put them on and your shit gets squished, right? But like this shit, it has like a hammock and a pouch, so your shit sits there like all cradled all comfortably, right? And it looks good, bro. Let me tell you, I'm not gonna lie, like my junk looks good in this shit, right? But that's what they're made for.
It probably looks too good. It probably looks too perfect.
It does. No, it's so good. My shit looks good. I wish I could like just walk around this in the street with these. I probably could, but I'd probably like make more money than I do now anyway. So like it's great, and I like the fact that I'm just trying to describe this, and I'm like doing the cradling of the balls fucking thing the whole time. So these underwear make your package look really good, and they come in all kind of shiny patterns. Like, they have the red ones, and then like Sean had like fucking like leopard print, and Andy had like blue snake skin, all this shit, whatever. So he sent us all this shit, and I had this really great relationship with him. And then all this crazy shit just kept happening with him. His husband fucking ended up getting shot, And oh man, I'm gonna give you some good shit. Do you want me to save this for a part 2? Because I'm about to go into some deep shit with this.
You got so much good stuff, so let's just do it. I know you got it.
So make a long story short, we kept up our relationship. He would contact me every couple of weeks, and then shit got crazy with him, and he got arrested for the whole like buried tigers in his backyard thing. He got convicted of that, and then a couple other things. So he would keep in contact with me every couple of months, and then he reached out to me about a year and a half ago. No, about 2 years ago. And he was like, I'm going to kill myself. He's like, I need to talk to you. So I'm like, all right. So I called him, and I talked to him in prison, and I talked to him a couple times, and he was telling me all the shit that's going down. He was abandoned there and all this shit. So this was getting really heavy. Like, he was calling me like every week from prison at this point, and I was like, oh, whatever. So, oh man, I don't want to say names, but fuck, I might already dropped too many hints. But a friend of mine, possibly a friend of ours, who works in TV production, contacted me when his name came up, and they were like, do you want to do a TV show with Joe Exotic, about Joe Exotic? I'm like, yeah. They're like, but you have to secure everything, all the rights with him and everything. I'm like, I could do that. So we went through like weeks and months of me sitting there and being like, all right, Joe, like, here's the deal. We'll develop a TV show around you and do everything, but it has to be exclusive between us. And he's like swearing to me up and down. Yeah. Well, it's exclusive. We'll do that. I get a sum of money for him. We pay him out. We do our show. We start to film our show. We start to do what I can film around, because this is right before COVID hit. And he was still in prison, and he couldn't get any guests yet until after his trial, his sentencing. So like, I ended up like flying to fucking Oklahoma to his sentencing. And I'm like sitting like 10 feet from him, and he's like fucking like winking at me and looking at me and shit. It was weird. It was very surreal. And he gets sentenced and shit. So at this point, we already had our deal. We had our deal, and I'm filming. I'm doing all the fucking B-roll and filming in Oklahoma and filming on location at his zoo. I went to his zoo, and I was sorry if you hear noises. I'm playing with the mic. I have a bad habit. Let me just crank it up.
You're good.
So I was visiting his zoo and stuff and filming there and everything. It was crazy. I think I put some of that up on my Facebook. And man, not more than a fucking like 4 weeks later, the fucking Netflix show drops. And it's like, turns out he had a side deal he never told me about. Oh. And with the Netflix producer, but he had done that deal like 5 years ago. And that guy's a really interesting guy. That guy, his name is, I think it's Eric Good. Dude, that guy is a fucking story in himself. He is a really rich New York socialite. His parents were really rich. They gave him a lot of money. He was very Trumpish. He fucking bought nightclubs in New York City, made a fortune selling nightclubs in New York City, became enamored with turtles, began the, what is it? The something turtle trust, the really big one, whatever the fucking big conservation thing is, the New York Turtle and Tortoise Trust, where he has like fucking celebrities like Samuel L. Jackson fucking doing commercials with turtles and tortoises to help like do conservation with them. He developed all these major conservation programs. This guy is so fuck you rich that he's like decides like, I'm just gonna start filming stuff. So he starts filming turtles and doing things in the reptile world, in the reptile trade. And he's doing this filming over like 5 years. And in that, he stumbled upon the Joe Exotic thing. And he just went back. And because Joe Exotic had signed off on it several years ago, he just went back and like got all the fucking retro footage and put it together. And you have that fucking Netflix show that fucking busted out in March. So like, here I am fucking literally eating my heart out. I'm like, oh my God, he just fucking ruined us. Like, so that was an interesting turn.
That was bad, yeah. Dude, I was gonna say, because that was like, fuck, that was goddamn global shock, bro. Like that thing, Joe became a trend everywhere. It was heart-wrenching to sit there like this guy that I've known for like fucking 8-10 years, like to watch the whole world become obsessed with him. And like, this motherfucker, I was fucking declining his calls on my fucking phone, you know? Yep. Like even a month prior, I have fucking video of him on my cell phone where he was fucking calling me from prison, complaining to me about how he got beaten down and shit. And like, it was such a surreal world, man. I'm so thankful to like have this surreal life, from like fucking talking to Bob Irwin to declining calls from Joe Exotic, to everybody else. Like it's been a crazy blessed world. It's crazy. Now let me ask you this, man. There's supposedly, I don't know if you're familiar with Tyler Nolan. Do you know who Tyler Nolan is?
Yeah, of course.
So I had Tyler Nolan on it. I had Tyler Nolan on as a guest. And I guess there's another Tiger King. I'm not going to say it's called Tiger King, but there's something that's now attention, like that's wrapped around the snake community, the reptile community, I should say.
Yeah, same dude, because he's a reptile guy, right?
Right.
And now he's got a lot of fuck you Netflix money, so he's been approaching everybody in the reptile community. Actually,
wow,
a lot of people. I've heard a lot of people talking about how these producers are contacting them, and all I could tell you, look, man, I've developed 3 pilots, TV shows myself. I've been in a couple of TV shows. It's such a fucked up world. And 9 times out of 10, the world they promise you is not real.
Yeah.
And 98% of the time, they're shooting into the wind, trying to make something stick, especially if it's in a development stage. You don't have shit until you have a pilot. So when these guys are reaching out to you, they're promising you the world. They're not going to give you shit. And chances are you're not going to change the world. You're not going to be Steve Irwin. You're not going to give them something that is so groundbreaking that they have to put it on. So what they're going to do is they're going to sit on this footage that they just bought from you. And whenever they come up with some other shitty TV show that needs some fucking fear factor shots, they're going to go back to what they filmed with you and use that shit. The TV production company like groups, they're all such scummy motherfuckers. Yeah. Don't fall for that shit, man. No one's going to offer you a TV show, man. If you were going to have a TV show, you would have had it by now. Like, you would have fucking done that. You would have fucking Britney Spears or fucking, like, done that shit where you were fucking grew up as a Mouseketeer and were ready for TV at an early age. Like, you're not going to fucking get a TV show in your 30s. You're not Steve Irwin. So, like, just don't do it and don't sell out, because if you can't sit there and talk to me about, reptile rights keeping, and then you're going to be sitting there fucking free-handling king cobras on national TV. Doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I hear you. It's very true. But I mean, do you think if that does drop on Netflix, I mean, what do you think that's going to fucking do to the hobby?
It's going to further fringe us. Unfortunately, we have this habit of not reaching out to people and really like coming at people with true education. We have a habit of just really solidifying this fringe attitude where we're super different and odd and we don't fit in with society. And like going back to what you were saying earlier, like with Kevin, you know, it's a shame because I know Kevin's a really fucking smart guy. If he sat down and did a podcast about like real fucking smart shit, it'd be great. But he's fucking going with like the fucking Slayer music and like the heavy background shit. And it's like nobody's gonna associate with that, man. I fucking love snakes and I can't sit through that fucking like no, man, it doesn't work, right? Like I hang out with Kerry King. I fucking love Kerry. He's a friend. Like, but I don't want to listen to that fucking shit. Like, and here's a king cobra. No, man, fuck no. I'm too high for that. I want to fucking mellow, right? I want to fucking chill and be like wrong attitude. And 99% of the public isn't gonna fucking connect to that. They're not, and they're just fucking. They're not. They're not gonna sit there. They're not gonna look at Tyler Nolan. They're not gonna look at Kevin's crew. And they're not going to get these people and be like, yeah, I can understand why this is cute and understandable. No, they're going to see fucking people with tattoos and piercings and fucking heavy metal music. And it has no fucking like association to them whatsoever. I'm not saying you need to be fucking PC and need to be fucking all fucking Sarah McLachlan music and puppies and kittens either. But like, come on, man, like find a common ground. And so that's why I can't really I can't get behind that shit either. We have a bad habit of making ourselves a fringe group, making ourselves outcasts, outsiders. Even my friends who do the most interesting fucking shit ever, like they just always do something where it's like, oh man, don't do that because that's gonna fuck it up. Like one of my friends, Steve Ludman, great fucking guy, man. You should get him on your show. He's an American who's been living in London for the last like 30 years, and he's a self-inoculizer. Is that the word? I'm too high to remember. Whatever with venomous.
That word is.
What inoculation with venom. So basically,
he venoms himself, whatever the fuck.
Yeah. He self-inoculates himself with venom. So basically, he'll make a little tiny like dot pinprick with a needle, and then he'll put a drop of snake venom on there. And he's done that for several years. And this dude's like in his 50s, bro, and he looks like in his 20s. That's the craziest thing. And all these dudes who do that, they all look super young. But anyway, so things like Steve is a fucking fascinating guy. He does that shit, but then like he'll go around and do something completely stupid where it's like, you just drove it over the edge and no one's gonna listen to you anymore. Like, I hate that, man. Just like don't sell out to the general public by any means. Don't fucking be vanilla. But at the same time, like, just don't be so fringe and out there that people aren't gonna get what you're about. You want to be fucking passionate about your snake? You want to show us on your fucking like one-eyed king cobra? Like, fucking do it, but like do it in a way that people are gonna want to accept that shit. You know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's just me. I could tell you right now, man. If it's one thing everybody could work on in this goddamn industry, is their approach to certain fucking ways they do their content. Even myself, man. Trust, I'm learning a lot as I go along, obviously. But the ones who have been doing this for a while, and I hate to say just keep using nerd as an example, but it is what it is. They're the ones where most people are coming to see and like, okay, what's this all about? And that fucking blaring music and all that shit that you're talking about and all the other random circus type activity going on. Yeah, bro. Like 9 out of 10 people are like, unless they're like motherfuckers who are in the hobby and all, and just like, oh wow, this is nerd. Everyone fucks with nerd. You know what I mean? But the general public wise, 9 out of 10, they're gonna look at this like a fucking like what is this? Like, what is this?
Look, bro. Like, my whole life is fucking catered around. What's the word I'm looking for? As the higher I get, the less my vocabulary gets. My whole career is basically catered around buying people and wanting to be educated, right? Like, right. I want to put something out there where a fucking mom is going to want to commit to my work for a month, 2 months, so I could teach their kids and like bio modules showing them real animals and just real skulls and how they work and doing cool shit like that. That is the shit that we need to do, is more sellable to the general public, not like a one-off video that has shock factor. And I mean, even within the community, like, you're creating division half the time just for views, and that shit is fucking wrong. Like, the whole shit that happened, like with the cobra with the one eye, like, filter some things out, man. Come on, like, don't put that out there. That's PETA could fucking pick that video up and just fucking dissect the community, man. Like, be smart about what we put out there. And I know, and that's the whole trap, man. That's the fucking trap. That's the whole trap between the YouTube community, right? Like, yeah, exactly. Like, you're caught in this fucking cycle, man. You got to produce. You got to make the algorithms. You got to do it every week. You got to make it interesting. You got to get the views. And that's where the sellout, that's a fucking very fine line between that being popular and selling out. And that's where it comes in, where it's like, there's some people who do that, some people don't. And the people, ironically, it's the people with the least fucking popular channels that have the coolest content. It never fails. Like, the main popular people, I cannot watch look, more power to you all. Like, every single one of you, like, YouTubers that are making a fucking living right now. And you've had a bunch of them on your show. More power to you fucking guys. But I can't watch more than fucking 1 or 2 episodes that much. I want to fucking jab a screwdriver in my ear because there's just no content there. And like, I guess that's the equivalent of me watching Jackass and finding it hilarious while my parents thought it was the stupidest thing in the world. Like, I get it. There's probably a disconnect there, but like, I just, that content isn't working, man. Just put out good fucking creative content, and people will find a way to you. The people that matter will find a way to you. It might not be the people who are going to make you money on your YouTube channel, not the people who are going to give you views, but people who matter. That one little kid that's like, oh my God, I remember that video you did, is going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't want to I don't want to keep bringing this as an example because he's my boy and I look up to him a lot. But Brian, I feel, does a really good job at getting people to fucking click on his goddamn clickbait, because he's super clickbaity. He does. He admits it. He's fucking puts a thumbnail that makes you look twice and you go, what the fuck is that? But as soon as he brings you in, all his shit's educational. I myself always learn something off Brian's fucking videos. And I feel like the youth, because that's the big wave of things that people that are coming in, it's all youth. It's all young people. And I don't know, man. I what you're saying is so spot on. There has to be a happy medium where you don't want to be vanilla, but you don't want to be fucking Mr. Slayer music, blaring shit, and just getting people to look the other way. You know what I mean?
No, you have to meet a common ground, because ultimately it's the masses that matter. Who the fuck do you think is voting on these bills that you guys are fighting? It's like fucking Jane Doe living, in the suburbs.
Bob Smith. You know
exactly.
the story of Bob Smith, right? Do I need to explain who Bob Smith is?
No, you don't need to explain Bob Smith. Everyone's yeah, of course. So like, there's the Bob Smiths out there that fucking rule the world, unfortunately. It's not us. and you have to reach these people. If you don't, once again, motherfucker hit legendary status. I mean, Steve Irwin, he's a fucking god. And why? Is because he captured the imagination of every fucking house kid, from the little fucking white kid growing up in Colorado to the fucking kid, the Puerto Rican living in the Bronx. Like, he reached the spectrum of every fucking kid who had a slightest dream of wanting to do something with animals, because he did it differently, you know, and he caught their imagination. And yeah, a lot of it was bullshit, but whatever. It hit that medium, it hit that comfortable medium. And it's along the lines, I think, unfortunately, with a lot of these old school guys who used to do that kind of shit, you know, like, you know, the Marlon Perkins and the fucking Marty Stoufers and shit like that. Like, it's just these guys used to capture something that's less sensationalistic. You lose me with sensationalism at this point. Like, it sucks, because I think there's so many fucking great stories that need to be told in a good way. And just because you suck at storytelling doesn't mean you need to revert to being like all fucking psychotic. Seriously, like, I could fucking sit there with a hamster and entertain a crowd for 30 minutes with a fucking hamster. And I'm not talking Richard Gere shit, like fucking sticking it up my ass or anything. Like, I'm talking about, like, I could fucking make you fucking appreciate Siberian hamsters and how this is an actual wild animal and how it fucking caches food for 7 months out of the year because it hibernates during that time. It comes out of the snow for 3 weeks out of the year to fuck. Like, just, there's so many fucking great stories behind every animal if you know how to tell the story. But if you don't, then you gotta be like, oh, fuck you, Burmese pythons, oh, iguanas killing motherfuckers, no, fuck that shit, man. Like, it just, I can't get behind it. I want to, and I want to support the new people. I really do. Like, some of these fucking YouTubers are kids. They're fucking children, bro. Most of them can't even fucking order a drink, right? Like, I want to support them, but I cannot get behind that. And I don't have the patience. I'm like you just said, I'd rather enjoy the good things in my life. I'd rather fucking sit there and play with my dogo and fucking go and play with my reptiles and my spiders and like water my plants than fucking worry about you being an idiot on TV or fucking shit up, fucking good shit up, man. Like, these guys, man, some of these fucking guys in Florida, what they're doing right now, some of it was highlighted by Kevin. You know, with the Burmese pythons and shit. These motherfuckers are fucking catching and recatching Burmese pythons for fucking views. Stop being a fucking idiot, man. You're fucking in the Everglades. You can't find interesting enough content to fucking come up with that. You gotta fucking sit there and use the same fucking snake for 3 weeks in 3 different videos where you're tossing it in a fucking pool 1 week and then the next week making believe you're catching it in a ditch on the side of the Everglades. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. I went to the Everglades and got stoned for 2 hours and found more shit than you.
It's the trash like that isn't even really a part of this hobby. Like, they're not even fucking they're not even animal lovers probably like us. They're on a fucking different
it's
view of shit. You know what I mean?
It's exploitation. It's really exploitation is what it comes down to. You know, it sucks because, like I said, like, I could fucking talk to you about 45 minutes to about a fucking Venus flytrap and blow your mind. Like, it just sucks. Like, you just gotta find your way there, and that's not the way, man. None of this shit. And this is where, and I know he's your boy, and for the longest time he was my boy, but this is where I have the issues with Brian with some of the stuff he's done. Like, you know, Brian does good shit. You've been to this place. You've seen how he's doing good shit and holding animals the right way and handling them the right way and housing them the right way, but when he's fucking sitting there and throwing snakes into pools that aren't even his, like, the owners didn't even know about. Like, I have issues with that kind of shit, you know? Like, there's back and forth. There's a lot of back and forth. Like I said, nothing is black and white. Everything is gray. And some people are, you know, one way or another, and they have good points and bad points. You can't judge people at face value. You can't. That's definitely the one thing I learned. Like, I have my strong opinions about shit, but definitely never judge people at face value, because it's very surprising, like, when you find out their complete stories. And like I said, I've been blessed that when I talk to people, I've learned, like when I talk to people, I've sat there and fucking like learned more than just the issue at hand, and then you know they're what they're coming from. You've walked a couple of steps in their shoes and you get it, you know.
I was literally gonna eat another piece of chocolate, but I'm fucking pretty on one right now, so I'm just like, I'm gonna put this back.
I
was like, whoa, I'm okay right now. No, but I totally know what you mean, dude. Fuck. Well, okay. What was the topic about, Brian? What were we just talking about right now? I'm so sorry. My mind.
People black and white, not being taken for granted. Barchek.
He says about his okay, but oh man, there was the last thing you just said right now.
Pools, throwing in pools.
I'm just trying. Okay, so the sensational part of things is where I'm trying to get at, because at the end of the day, if you are bringing stuff to, I guess, I mean, this is television nowadays, bro. Like nobody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Has, nobody has a. No, remember TV guides? I remember TV guides.
I remember TV guides.
So fucking epic, bro. I wish I had a TV guide right now. I'd look at it, but bro, and it'd be Trap Thursday. But I'm just saying, dude, there's no TV guides now, right? So everybody comes here. So at the end of the day, it is competition, and it's like, who the fuck can I get to come watch my shit like clockwork all the time? And I know there's a boundary that needs to be played with. And I get what you're saying. Like, listen, you made a good point. Everyone has that homie where you're like, you fuck with them, but then they'll do that one thing and you're like, oh man, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, it's his world. Like, it's his, and not to say, like, I don't know, man, it's a sensational part of it. It's all about the sensational part, which you even said the whole camera thing, the filming is fucked up. You even said it, like you being a part of, you going in on that end of the shit, the whole filming industry, and how fucking delusional and fucked up it is. It's kind of almost the same thing in a way when it comes to YouTube. Like it's supposed to glorify something that it's, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't want to.
It's a narrative, and it's fun, and that's why, like, I have no issue with you enjoying and finding channels entertaining. Like, if it's something you want to play in the background, if it's something you enjoy watching, like a TV show, that's great. But just, like, come on, man. Like, we're living in a time in society when you can do your own research, take everything with a grain of salt. Like, just do your research with stuff and then do the best you can, man. Like, what's the difference between taking your dog out to the park every week or every day and giving him the best life possible versus him living in a puppy mill to be bred and and reproduce? Like, every fucking puppy mills are the scourge of the world, right? Like, everybody's like, oh, puppy mill this, right. Fucking Sarah McLachlan sing a song about this shit, like, everybody's all about that shit. But, like, literally, what are most snake breeders, man?
Right.
Like, seriously, as fucked. We're fucking reptilian puppy mills, and we gotta do better. We have listen, if you're a snake keeper, all right, if you're the kind of person that keeps snakes, you are already a different breed. You are somebody who's already way more understanding than the average fucking human being. You see things way beyond their appearances. You can appreciate things in a way that's way different than most people can appreciate things. Capitalize on that, man. Make that fucking as beautiful as you can. And this is not just a we talking, but let me tell you, just make it as beautiful as you can, because you are already a unique breed. Don't feel like you gotta be like everybody else. Don't feel like you have to do these things because everybody else is doing. Don't fucking use this elevated dish because this is the popular thing for your crested gecko. Fuck that. Carve something out of wood. Fucking take it the next step, man. Like, just be original, and that's what we're missing. That's what we're missing in keeping in reptiles. Like, I glorify in my own mind people that you guys will never know. People like Joseph Laszlo, which was the first fucking guy who was a fucking like Yugoslavian fucking immigrant to work at the Dallas Fort Worth Zoo, and he came up with the idea of using recycled fucking soda refrigerators as incubators, like large scale incubators, and fucking was responsible for breeding iconic animals like Angolan pythons and shit like that. Like fucking Bert Langerwerf, who, if you don't know who Bert Langerwerf is and you keep any kind of lizard, you need to get on your fucking game. That dude came from Amsterdam here in the fucking 70s and lived in Alabama, right? He moved to Alabama and used a bunch of recycled old window frames and wood from old decrepit houses to build cages, where he started to breed tegus, lacertids, and all kinds of animals all year round in Alabama. They overwintered in these cages. He developed hibernaculum for these animals. If you keep any kind of tegu, any kind of bearded dragon, whether it's fucking the regular bearded dragon or rankins or any of those, any kind of lacerdas like jewel lacerdas, any kind of skinks like blue tongue skinks, you fucking owe Bert Langerwerf a portion of your fucking happiness. So figure out who the fuck he is. But these are the pioneering people that are missing from the world, because everything is just kind of handed to us, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. I had to look up who the fuck Bert Langerwerf was right now, and I have some research to do. 100%. But I mean, in my defense, I just recently got into monitors, and I'm a sponge right now. So I appreciate you telling me this because I'm gonna fucking geek out over who Burt Langer was.
So you know people like okay, so for you, for so many entry level on monitors, you need to know who like Frank Reitz is, right?
Who?
Frank Reitz.
Frank Reitz. No.
Oh my god. Frank Retes. Like this dude fucking was the god when it came to producing all kinds of monitors for the first time in captivity, including most of the dwarfs that we know. Currently, he has like a fucking ranch in like Arizona where he fucking hand feeds like Gila monsters and lizards in his backyard. Absurd guy. But Frank Reitz is one of the first guys. If you've ever kept an Ackie monitor, you owe Frank Reitz a large portion of that. If you've ever kept a Peacock monitor, if you've ever kept a Timmer monitor,
and Lace too, right? He got Lace. I think he imported a Lace.
He was one of the first people to breed Lacies. I think he was one of the first people to actually successfully breed Crocs.
Oh my god!
Frank Reitz is a god, right? And he's still a dude who's in operation, and like he's just he's low key now. He does his thing, but. Like these are the guys, man, and these guys learn that shit. There's a fucking in the old school days. It used to be if you were breeding Ackies or if you were getting into Ackies, you could not breed them without creating what was called a Reitz stack, and that was basically like two pieces of wood with a piece of plywood that created a space, and you would reproduce these like 4 or 5 to create all these little hollows and things like what species? Really long neck. Australian Kimberly Rocks. Fuck, I'm losing all my species right now because I'm too high.
Damn, I wish my boy Andrew was here.
What's that?
My boy Andrew Acevedo is like he's like my mentor fucking when it comes to monitors, and he would be fucking, he's gonna love to share this episode.
Yeah, no, like these guys, man, and there's all these old school guys. There's another dude, oh fuck, I forget his name, man. He's still around. I saw him do an interview with somebody recently on a podcast or something. Some guy named Mike. His name used to be like Mike's Monitors. He's
Mike Stefani or something like that.
Stefani, that's it, Mike Stefani. Yeah. That motherfucker, all right. He used to build, like in the 90s and the 2000s, he used to build monitor enclosures out of old, discontinued, and on sale shower stalls.
Whoa. Wow.
Fucking my boy, dude, bro, he was fucking breeding tree monitors before it was a thing, right? Yeah. And he had like I think he still does that. He had fucking shower stalls that he built. Like it was all done. He fucking plumbed them to rain to have fucking misting systems and everything, right?
That's
like
so epic.
Just ingenious shit like that. I think people rely too much on Exoterra and people rely too much on Zilla to what they can create with these animals. And that's my point. It's fucking sad, man. Fucking think out of the box. You can fucking 3D print whatever. Look, bro, I broke into this crazy 3D printing world recently, which has become like everything. I can't even begin to explain how crazy that is. But like, you can 3D print things for animals. Like your heart's desire, if you can imagine it, you can fucking create it. What a beautiful time to be alive, man. If you're not taking advantage of that, if you're buying your shit at Petco, you're not hardcore.
You're not hardcore.
Nah, just keep on with your fucking looking for your coupons at Petco, because
save up for your Wilmer.
Yeah, seriously, bro. Don't talk to me. If you ain't fucking ready to make a fucking refrigerator into a fucking incubator and load it up with sim containers, I don't want to hear you. I don't.
Hey, real quick. Is this him? Frank.
Yeah, that's Frank, dude. He used to fucking breed them in troughs, man. Man was hardcore.
Look at this shit. But no, this is actually a nesting. I feel like this is I mean, he's digging deep.
Well, he was like one of the first guys that realized that you need to give these motherfuckers, like, you're not going to fucking breed them with a shoebox. Like, he was one of the first people that realized you need to fucking give these monitors, these little dwarf monitors, like 2-3 feet of like digging space, whether it's vertical, diagonal, whatever.
Right.
Like he did that, like he conditional shit he did, was amazing. Like he basically was one of the first people to kind of condition train monitors, like target train monitors.
Wow, man.
Dude, there's like all these old guys that are just low key to sit back now that are dinosaurs because they fucking can't get past anything other than Facebook. But they're like some fucking real geniuses that are alive. And like I've made it a point. I wanted to make it a point where I want to do something to show. Maybe it's something we should talk about in the future, where we explore these guys, because we're on the cusp. I think we're on the 5-year cusp of losing more than half of these guys just because they're old. Like how to say this? I hope he's not listening. But like guys like Crutchfield, like we got like 5 years out of him, right? Like, dude,
Oh,
come on, we got like 5 years out of him, right? So like we gotta get these guys, we gotta get their brains on fucking tape, and preserve that, because they lived a different world, and it's a world that we need to get back to. It's a fucking exciting, adventurous world that we're kind of lacking. You know, sitting in our fucking places, sitting in our homes for the last year has made us kind of realize we're in a different world. So.
That's a good point, man. That's a really good point. You know, I was thinking about the same thing. All these and that's another reason why I wanted to do this podcast, is because Forrest, right? Forrest was so fascinated with names of people that he looked up to, that I was like, who? Like, where? Like, just like, even like basically what you're doing right now, like the exact same shit that you're doing right now, Forrest did to me. And I was like, bro, there's too many names out there that people don't fucking know who the fuck's what. Like, this is, and for me personally, people are gonna come to me for attention, then I'm gonna fucking bring what I feel like needs to bring to the attention, and that's to the motherfuckers that aren't gonna be here much longer.
There's a guy that I had on my show once that hurts me that I didn't have him back on more often. He was a good friend of mine for many years.
Ooh.
And he was more a behind the scenes guy. He was the kind of guy that I called every couple of weeks. He was the kind of guy that laughed at me when I fucked up something. He was the kind of guy that was happy for me when I had success. And I only had him on my show once, and I really regret that. I don't know if you've heard of him. Rico Walder.
Oh my god. Yeah, bro. Like Rico's like,
yeah. Well,
kidding me? Like everything. I'm sorry. Yeah, dude.
That's
yes.
my point. That's my point. Is like,
wow, dude.
You don't know. This is somebody I took for granted. I talked to him all the time, and I had him on my show once, and like I knew him for like 15 years. Like, bro, like going back to Miss Willie, like Ryan. I hope you're still here. I don't know if he's still here. I missed out on Miss Willie by like 15 minutes. So let's go back to the 90s, early 2000s. I don't remember what year it was. But the same guy that I actually used to work for, where I discovered a tiger in Amazon Tree Boa for the first time, he used to get a list from a company in California that was like the main supplier for the good shit. Like if you were buying good shit, you were buying it from this company. And it doesn't exist anymore, but it's called LA Reptile. And the lady who was in charge, her name was Christine, and she would send out a fax every day or two when things became available, because they were like importing big shit, you know. Right. And like they would import emerald tree boas, and you'd always see across the line like emerald tree boas, like $125 to $175 a piece, right? Depending on color, markings. And then one day, I'm sitting there fucking cleaning cages, and the fucking curly paper fax, this so old, comes across the machine, and it's from LA Reptile. And the first thing I read, super high white emeralds, $550.
Oh my!
I can't afford that, man. So like I run to the manager, like, dude, please buy the snake. Please buy a snake. Like, please buy it for me. I'll give you $650 for it, and just let me pay it over time, right? And we went back and forth about 40 minutes, and he's like, all right, fine. I got it for you. So he calls Christine up. And he puts his typical order. He's like, hey, I want that snake too, the really high white emerald. She's like, oh, I just sold it. Oh. I'm like, shit.
Really? Shit me.
Whatever. I didn't see the emeralds at this point. I hadn't seen her. And I was like, whatever, you know. And she sold to a dude in Georgia. He's still around. Fuck, I can't remember his name. If it comes to me, I'm so sorry, because he's on my friends list, and I can't remember his name at the time because I'm too high. But there was a dude who had a wholesale outfit out of Georgia and Atlanta, and he bought her, and he had her for like a year or two, and he couldn't breed her.
John Irby?
No.
Okay, I figured because he's, I don't know why, Mid-Atlantic or Boreal.
No, I know him. No. Huh. Fuck, I can't remember this dude's name. So anyway, he bought it, and he held on to it for like a year and a half, and he didn't get anywhere with her. And he ended up selling her at that point I think Tirico. Might have been one more person in between, but they ended up selling it to Tirico. Probably for the grand sum of like I think it was like $750 or something like that. Yeah, and that was Miss Willie. I missed out on her just slightly from LA Reptile, and the only reason I know it's her because I was in communication with the guy in Georgia who bought her afterwards, and I was like, "You motherfucker!" Like I really wanted that snake, you know.
And you don't know where you don't have tabs on her now.
She died.
Oh,
Miss Willie.
shit.
Yeah, the original Miss Willie died.
Oh, that's the original.
Yeah, that was the original. That was the very first Miss Willie.
The very first.
The very first. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well, how at what age did it pass? Do you remember?
I don't know.
Okay.
She was an import, so she already came in as an adult. She could have been 15 years old, you know.
So something that fucking impressive got pulled out of the wild. Is what?
Oh yeah, for sure. So did just stuff like Tony Nicolai's original New Locales. That was all out of Suriname, from a guy who's still in business today. That got pulled out of the wild, yeah, for sure.
I want to ask you this real quick, Danny, since we're on the topic of emeralds and stuff like that. The import world, right? Like people who are like, hey, fuck, I want to get an emeralds. You know, where can I find one? Oh, I can't find one, you know, or there's a fucking wait list, right? So, you know, importers come out with them and shit like that. Where do you feel like that world's going? Like, honestly, where like everything's happening nowadays, where everything we've been talking about, where do you see like the import side of things going?
All right, before we get into this, is there any possible way I can take like a 30-second break? I really need to piss.
Go.
Okay, let me take a break and I'll come back to you on that because I have a lot to say. I don't want to end the show prematurely. So
all right, you're good. I hope you guys are having a great night. I know I am. I'm taking a lot away from this episode, and I you know, dude, obviously Danny's going to be somebody we have on. Fuck. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but round after round, man, this is great shit. I appreciate everyone who's been here, man. Just, you know, mad love to you guys. I'm going to give you guys 4 hours tonight just because I wasn't here last week. I'm going to bring you the heat. And yeah, man, I hope you guys are having a great night so far. You know, if you got one rolling, roll it up, spark it up. I'm about to do a dab right now. Actually, that sounds pretty good. When Danny gets back, I'm going to take my piss. But I do want to just be here and say what up and give you guys mad love and respect for anyone who's tuning in right now, man. You know, 3 hours deep. We're still going, man. Good shit. 1 more hour left. Let's keep rolling. I got more shit I want to ask Danny. And I guarantee we're not going to get everything in tonight. Because I still need to eat dinner. I have a wife, and you know I normally don't do this to my wife, but this is Danny Mendez, and we're doing some fucking awesome shit right now, man. But good shit, man. Fat dabs, yeah. Let's do a dab. Let's do a fat dab. I'm gonna put on mute real quick because I want you guys to hear my torch, but I'm gonna do a fat ass dab real quick.
All right, I'm back. Knocking shit over. I'm back.
I'm lighting my torch.
Nice. I just got a new soda and I'm chilling. Fuck, dude. You know, like I told you yesterday I was camping and I've just been having the nightmare fucking experience of pulling ticks randomly off of my body. I just like found one like randomly on my arm. So anyway.
What the fuck? Bro, Jesus Christ.
Bro, I pulled off like a dozen ticks off of my body. That's terrible.
All for the camp.
It's like the only reason I miss not having like a significant other is to be able to check my nether regions because it's very difficult. But anyway. Okay, so Emerald Tree Boa imports. Yeah, here's the thing, right? Like, so once again, I'm gonna channel my inner old fart being. I just think that people aren't patient enough, man. For tree boas, it's a snake of a different caliber. It's a snake of a different world. You can't rush anything with emerald tree boas. The longer you take with them, the better off you'll be. So, like people, you know, import them. It's very sad to me. They are once again one of those animals I think are kind of considered disposable at this point. What are you smoking?
Oh, you want to see what I'm smoking?
What are you smoking? Yeah.
I'll probably get fucking whatever the fuck. I don't give a shit. Check this out.
Oh, that's pretty.
See the diamonds?
Oh my goodness, what is that?
It's called Gorilla Glue Sauce.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I've got like regular ghetto green shit. It's just wedding cake.
So Danny, when I go visit you, like when I go back east, I'm gonna bring all this shit to you. So don't worry. We're
Yeah,
gonna
please do. We're legal now, which is like surreal to me. So
yeah. I'm gonna get you
all right. So anyway, so yeah, like it's sad. It's really, really, really fucking sad to me. So like most people don't realize like so if I was an importer, if I was like strictly reptiles, I'm paying about $85 a head on northern emerald tree boas.
How much?
About $85.
What?
Yeah, that's what they cost. They cost about $85 out of Suriname. And Suriname's weird. Like Suriname holds you at ransom. Like you get this snake at this price, but you have to buy
This many.
like this many, and you have to buy these other types of snakes. Like you have to buy 50 boa constrictors and 50 Amazon tree boas as well. So anyway. So they'll sell emerald tree boas really cheap, and then by the time they land them and shit, they're probably paying about $100 a piece. So they'll. So if you have a connection to a wholesale list like Burgundy, like Cameron's list, or like Strictly Reptiles, you can buy a fresh import emerald tree boa for about $225.
Right.
Now that's that's a very high risk animal, but if you time it right, you can be successful with the animal. But most people just don't have the patience. It takes weeks and weeks and weeks to make progress with them. It takes at least 2 or 3 weeks of hydration for an import, and most of it is going to be very invasive. It's not keeping the animal moist. It's going to be injecting it with fluids, with lactated ringer solution and things like that. So you have to
What
be very
about soaking? What about soaking? Like I know some emeralds are really like iffy about soaking, but like if you didn't have like the means, or if you didn't have like the tools to inject hydration into an emerald, could you at least possibly soak it?
You might. It's not going to do as much.
I got it. Okay.
It's just not. And there's different things like they absorb water differently than we do. They tend to absorb pure water a lot more differently than somebody who's got a heavy mineral deposit in their water, or like somebody who lives in like Florida, Miami, or stuff like that. So it depends. There's a lot of factors in that. So you're not going to get that hydration. Like you literally, I mean, if you pick up an animal like out of Strictly's, you go into fucking massive tubs that look like king size beds with fucking flip top lids, and it's got like 4 broomsticks full of emerald tree boas on it. Like you go in there and you pick out one that's really iridescent and got good body weight, you'll do okay with it. You know, just continue to keep it sprayed and hydrated, and eventually, when it's feeling better, it'll feed for you. But most people can't get to that point. They just don't have the patience. And so it's an impossibility for them to reach at the $225 point. So like the next step up is to go with somebody who's going to hustle you and tell you they have an established animal. And then you're going to pay like $350, but you're not. You're going to pay out the ass, and you're going to die. It's going to die. It's going to fucking die. It's going to come to you dehydrated with parasites and regurgitation issues. And then the next step up is to buy a captive born animal, and you're talking $750 and above. And you know that's a good entry level base. Like it's kind of like what I learned in the 3D printing world. Like you can buy 3D printers that you have to assemble, and you can buy ones that are already done. You get more out of the ones that you assemble. And it's the same thing with the baby tree boa. Like the baby tree boa, you're gonna have to put work into. So if you put that work into them, you'll get just like anything, like training a dog or horse. You put the work in, the rewards will be infinitely great. So that's always a good cause. But it's a hard breaking point. I hate the emerald tree boas are being imported to the point where they are right now. I feel in my own personal history, it feels like when basins were, because basins were the same thing in the 90s and 2000s. Like they were imported just as equally, and you're going to pay an average of $1,000 for a good looking one. You know, you're going to pay $2,000 for a great looking one, and the most phenomenal ones sold for absurd money, like $5,000, $10,000 or whatever it was. So it depends, but like the northerns are at that point where they're still considered junk snakes, because once again, if you're going to buy off a South American dealer and you want redfoot tortoises, you want, rainbow boas, you want boa constrictors, you need to buy emerald tree boas, you need to buy Amazon tree boas. And so they're disposable, and it's sad to me because you're still looking once again at like a 90% fucking mortality rate of the most majestic animal there is. There's nothing like an emerald tree boa. I mean, even if you're a chondro fan, it's not the same. There's nothing like a fucking healthy, big ass-headed emerald tree boa. Like, it just doesn't happen. So
yeah, the one I just showed you, her fucking head is so goddamn meaty. I love her. She's like, oh man, there's nothing better than that, man. It really isn't.
no, there's not.
But that being said, with the imports, I mean, do you still see longevity with people importing animals and selling them and whatnot, or where do you see that going?
Nah, like, I don't know. I don't know the statistics, but I'm sure that the survivability of those imports today, like, let's just say this year's quotas, let's just hypothetically say there were 5,000 emerald tree boas imported in 2020. Make believe it's a normal year too, not fucking Thanos taking over. So, like, imagine 2020 was a normal year and they imported 5,000 emerald tree boas. I bet my fucking soul that 4,900 of those are dead today, if not more.
A lot of, if not, yeah, that's true. Oh my god, man, it's so true. That's why
So,
we're talking about this.
is their quota worth? Like, here's my thing, man. Like, fucking go back to being a Bolin's python thing. Unfortunately, the Bolin's python was not by choice, but I'm all for. And this is the thing. Like, I'm all for the stopping of the importation of this stuff just to make the stuff that comes in more valuable. Come on, man. Fucking chondro pythons, man. I came from a time when chondros were gods, right?
Chondros are gods still.
They are. Look, listen. Like, I like chondros, and they're like the other white meat and Tree Boa world. It's okay, but like, listen. Like, I'm kidding. I like chondros. Chondros, like, for most of my life, were an enigma, right? Like, it made me sad when the Indo farms started mass producing them. My first experience, oh man, I just remembering this, and I'm not gonna shit. I'm not meaning this to shit on him. You can take it however you want. Orlando, probably 95. I bought my very first chondro.
Orlando. Okay.
This is pre-Daytona. Same show, like whatever the Daytona's breeder expo is. Fuck. Fuck you, wedding cake. Anyway, I bought my very first chondro. Beautiful, beautiful fucking burgundy, deep burgundy, baby. The bright yellow tail. I'll never forget taking it back to my hotel room, staring at it for hours and hours and hours. That was Friday, the day the show began, when I got my early entry in. And I bought that snake off of the vendor's table. Really well-known vendor. And by the time I left Sunday night, this baby was corkscrewing in its container, no matter what I tried.
Corkscrewing. Wow, it sucks.
Yeah, that was from Nerd. And that was back then, right? So back then, I realized that there's something wrong with what they're doing. Like, these animals should not be available at a reptile show for $400, $395. I know at that time they're probably selling for like $125 wholesale, but because Burgundy, but Cameron was my first memory of bringing them in huge numbers, and you realize, man, these animals deserve better. Like, what a fucking amazing animal a chondro is, you know? What an amazing, complex animal. When you think evolutionarily speaking, as a biologist, as a scientist, boas are rudimentary. They're more efficient, in my opinion, in giving live birth. But pythons are evolutionarily more advanced. And here you have the ultimate advanced python. Not only is it an advanced form of snake that has shifted to laying eggs and making a nest and knowing how to do that, but it convergently evolved to use the same form and the same natural history as another very successful species halfway across the world, right? This animal deserves so much fucking respect. And to see them farmed off for like $200 a piece now, it's kind of heartbreaking. So I don't know. This is where we have to stop. This is where we have to put the brakes down and be like, no more of that shit. Let's support the guys that we know, man. Let's support the people that you've had on your show.
Yeah.
The Craigs and everybody else, like, who really put the work in. And just like if I were to buy a dog, I'm not going to go to a puppy mill. I'm going to go to a fucking really good breeder who puts a lot of effort and time into diversifying their bloodlines and producing the best they can, you know, and it should be the same for these animals. So yeah, it's the importation needs to be curbed. I think it needs to be stopped, restricted to the point where we can appreciate the animals that we have again.
Because the only thing I could think of that could be on the other end of what we're talking about as far as a positive thing of imports is it gives people who might be capable of fucking getting this thing thriving and going the opportunity to get the animal versus having to wait or suck somebody's dick to get on some, you know, their list of, you know, when I have production and stuff like that. But that's
by getting an imported animal.
No, not even import. I mean, imports, you could get them. You go to a show, there's fucking, they're there on the table. But I'm talking about like United States captive born and bred. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, there's people out there who breed, and I'm talking about chondros. You know, there's people out there who have lists. Like, I mean, it's like you got to do a lot to get these people's to get these people animals now, and that's all respect. I mean, dude, that's popularity. I mean, it is what it is. Fucking the demand, it's there, but fucking my God, where am I going? I mean, at least I was 3 hours deep in my first time getting lost. But
are we out here for 3 hours?
Yeah, we're 3 hours.
Fuck, bro.
And I'm seeing like 4 of me right now, but it's okay. I literally have like 7 eyes right now. It's crazy. I don't want to look at the screen. But anyways, what are we fucking getting at right now? Dang it, my mind just went off. Andre, okay, hold on. I got you. Okay, I got it. I grasped it.
Good.
So, but what I was saying is, it does give people the opportunity to get their dream animal that they're obsessing over a lot quicker versus having to wait however many years the wait list is to get an emerald tree boa or a chondro or what the fuck was that? My dog's going crazy. But you know what I mean? Like I just feel like there's like, man, you cut off the import and that literally fucks anyone's chances who's just getting into this to really work with an animal without having to wait 3-4 years, but at the end of the day, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I don't know. I'm
you just okay with like the blood toll, the body toll that comes with that?
No, I'm not. That's why that literally just sunk into my head right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, but no.
I'm glad you could get your $350 chondro, but like there's 25 dead for that one that you're getting your hands on and you're gonna take care of.
But at the end of the day, like as of now, there's no stopping these fucking animals from coming in. If these importers want to bring them in and they want to sell them, they could sell them. So what's your advice for somebody who's like, hey man, I'm obsessed with fucking emeralds or chondros. I think I can do it. Like
that's basically like the same fucking thing that people who go to Petco and buy an animal and be like, I rescued this from Petco. You didn't. Like,
yeah,
that shit's gonna be fucking replenished within a week of you walking out the door, right? Whereas if the animal dies in their captivity, they might think twice about that, right? So where you're coming from, yeah, I will probably end up buying another imported emerald again in my life. Honestly, I have no problem with imported emeralds. I know how to treat them, so I'm fairly confident in my ability to do that. So if I buy an emerald import, it's going to be with me for many, many years, if not decades. So I'm confident in that, but not everybody can be. And yeah, I don't know, because I know that for that one emerald that I'm going to work with, like fucking 50 have died on that shipment alone, you know? So
Yeah.
It's a tough call. It's a really fucking tough call, man. Like, once again, going back to us talking about with the fucking, there's no black and white. There's never black and white in the animal world because the ethics run so profoundly and in such different directions that there's no way you can say this person is good, this person is bad, this situation is good, this situation is bad. You can't. You fucking can't. You can't.
No, you can't. That's pretty heavy though. But what I'm, well, you know, at the end of the day, fuck, I just feel people do need to just fucking do their research more. But
I still have faith in humans to be able to get your shit together in this sense, you know. Like, I've seen it, you know. I love eat, breathe, sleep the reptile community, but I'm involved in other communities like the bird community, the fish community, and I see the same thing. Honestly, the only fucking ones that got their shit together are the fish community. The fish people have always worked together to breed animals in captivity and establish enough of a bank of these animals in captivity that there's absolutely no need for importation, and to the point of making them disgustingly common. Basically what we did with bearded dragons, but they did that with everything. And if we can do that, like, imagine if we fucking bred emeralds to the point where it's like bearded dragons, right? Where you could fucking see a captive born emerald show up at Petco. Not that that would be a good thing, but like, once we get to that saturation point, like, it's better than where we're at now, where you're gonna fucking have a 1 out of 50, so like a 2% chance of success.
right.
It's weird. It's a weird caveat. Like, I've seen it. You know, even some of the people that we have now in our industry who are considered leaders, they began their business in Petco, you know, selling to the masses. And that's what pisses me off. You know, there's a video.
I found that out, though, bro. Honestly, what you just said, I found that out like probably less than a year ago at a dinner. And, you know, obviously you got it more into detail. But, man, what the fuck? That's crazy that you said that. The biggest ones are fucking supplying Petco.
Yeah, the biggest people. I mean, and some of them aren't shy about it. You know, like Ty Park is one of them. Ty Park is not, he'll tell you right off the bat that he, for many years, was the main supplier for iguanas to Petco's and whatever fucking, what's the other big pet chain?
PetSmart?
PetSmart. Petco's and PetSmarts. Like, he supplied those iguanas. And that's a fucking hard pill to swallow, right? Let's be frank about that. Like, I fucking love Ty, and I think he's doing great things. And he's in the middle of creating this great thing. But, like, what was that built off of?
Yeah.
You know? Like, think about this shit. And nobody wants to think about that. And that's fine. Don't think about that. But don't get mad at me if I put it out there to you either. Like... You know, it's a fucked up thing, but these people, you know, the success of a lot of these animals was built on blood money, and like, you'll be surprised. You know, there's a video. It really pisses me off because obviously, I would never ever in a million years support PETA in any way, shape, or form. Fuck PETA to the hardest. Fuck PETA with a giant donkey dick, 3 ways, twice.
No Vaseline.
Yeah, and fuck Humane Society too. Like, I hate them all. I hate all those animal rights groups. But you know what? Like, sometimes they put out a video that you can't fucking ignore. And one of them was on the reptile industry. There was a video that came out a couple years ago. Do you know what I'm talking about? So there was a video that came out about 2 or 3 years ago where PETA fucking had a plant. They had somebody working on the inside at Reptiles by Mac. Reptiles by Mac is an industry leader. We're talking about one of the major fucking developers and breeders of leopard geckos, boas, everything. One of the major suppliers to the pet industry, to the people who you buy off at reptile shows, they supply. Like, Reptile by Max is one of the giant silent people in the background that sell to these Petcos and PetSmarts and supply them with tons and tons and tons of bearded dragons and leopard geckos, most specifically, and ball pythons. A couple of years ago, PETA came out with a video they had of somebody undercover at Reptiles by Mac. They were showing videos of bearded dragons with limbs missing and dragging that were uncared for. They were showing videos of rat glue traps that were put out throughout the warehouse that were loaded with escaped reptiles from snakes and lizards and geckos of all kinds that were dead or dying or not to be saved. They were showing animals being thrown into a freezer alive. And our industry was quick to be like, oh, but it's a PETA video, it's a PETA video, it's a PETA video. But you know what? You fucked up. You dropped your guard enough that those motherfuckers got that on you. So for you to sit there and fucking just fall back on the fact that it's an AR or PETA video is fucking weak as fuck. You need to look at the people in your industry. And I don't care how many hundreds of thousands of dollars they donate to US Arc. When you've got fucking animals fucking sitting and dying on glue traps, that's some scummy shit.
That's crazy, bro. And if this isn't a wake up call, then I don't know what you must be fucking dead. I don't know what.
And you know, just look this shit up. I'm not even like, this is all you can look it up on YouTube. Like, I'm not fucking blowing smoke up your asses. This is stuff that we ignored, like those fucking garbage bins at the beginning of the fucking reptile shows on a fucking Saturday morning, showing all the dead tokay geckos, and like just it's fucked, man. We're our own worst enemy, so that's why I have a really hard time supporting us. I will support every single fucking child and person who comes up to me, child and adult, who comes up to me with a genuine interest in reptiles and wanting to learn more. I will be there for them 100% of the way. I will not support this so-called industry anymore. I'm done with it.
Danny, two of my closest friends, I'm not going to name drop them, but anyone who knows me close enough could put the fucking 2 to 2 together. But two of my fucking closest friends that I talk to every day on this earth, fucking one, hate humans, right? For every reason why you're saying what you're saying. But more importantly, want nothing to do with anything because how fucked up shit is. And it all makes sense, man. I mean, you can love animals so much and somebody else could just be ruining it by just simply not doing what they need to do to simply fucking take care of an animal. I don't know, man.
It's fucked. It's fucked because it's just basic.
Keep talking.
I was gonna say it's fucked because it's just basic common sense, man. It doesn't take an advanced degree in animal biology to know that animals will get more enjoyment out of a bigger enclosure, out of, more stimuli. It's absurd. It's common sense, and we lack that, and it's a bad look. It's a really bad look on us. I don't see how we can justify that in any way, shape, or form. So it's kind of sad. But I'm hoping we'll evolve as more and more people get into the hobby. I'm hoping they'll just move away from following the norms and following the paths that have been laid ahead and move more towards innovation, and at least being inspired enough to be innovative, because that's when you've hit a sweet spot, when you want to be innovative about something that it is you love. Did you just change into your PJs?
No, I've had these on.
Okay. Those are very nice. I just thought you changed off camera. And just thought you for ratings you should have changed on camera.
No. But yeah, man. No. I don't know. It's just it sucks because somebody like me, right, who's so, Forrest used to laugh at me because he's like, bro, your energy is like, I get so hyped and excited over the smallest things, you know what I mean? Because I'm new. I'm so brand new into this. But as you start to learn, as you dig, as you peel the onion deeper and deeper, that's when it hits you. And that's when you're like, well, I mean, that's why everything pulls back. I mean, I'm not pulling back. I have the podcast. I'm fucking loving it. I'm here to not really expose shit, but I'm not here to hide shit. If somebody's here to talk, they're going to fucking talk. Like, please, by all means. You know what I mean? But I'm not here targeting that. Like, bro, Danny, I knew it was going to be great bringing you on, but I didn't know it was going to be this fucking great. Like, I am taking back so much of what you're telling me right now. And this is, I'm not just saying this. All my podcasts has been real as fuck, but this is the realest one I've done. I feel like the most I'm connected with right now. Like, this is, yeah, man, everything's hitting home.
Flattered.
Yeah, everything's hitting home with me a lot. And it does, because your outlook and what you just said right now really reminds me of my two closest friends that I'm just talking about, who really are just like, they're ready just not to be on social media no more. Like they talk to me all the time. Like, dude, I think I'm gonna fucking get off social media. And I tell them, I'm like, dude, I mean, I don't fucking blame you. Like, I don't blame you. and these guys aren't really, they don't really are like caring on what's around them, but sometimes you can't help what's brought to your attention. Like it's just, and I don't know. So, but it sucks because these two guys are my biggest fucking inspirations when it comes to animals and whatnot. And for them to be like, well, I want to disconnect from this shit. It sucks. You know what I mean?
Oh, there goes my lighting. No, you'll often find that the people that are least associated with social media are the best people. Like you'll find that those are the people who are most grounded. I mean, my most favorite herping people are not present on social media, and this one guy, like he's a fucking god. Like he knows everything, like moon phases when it comes to like fucking tracking snakes and everything. It's great. And these are the treasures that you get. But once again, sadly, unfortunately, these are the things we're missing out on, because these are the connections you make when you go to reptile shows and when you engage in these kinds of things, whether it's like Carpet Fest or whatever it is, like any kind of fucking grouping of people that are like-minded. This is where you meet those people, man, and we miss out so much on that, and it's fucking terrible. It's terrible when you do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say right now, Danny, the biggest thing I love the most and that I miss the most are the fucking shows, man. Because that's my whole, love for what I'm doing right now came from social media, but basically blossomed when I finally went to a show and I met people, when I met Forrest, when I met fucking Brian Barczyk, when I met Miguel Garcia. Like these are like, I fucking wake up and I fucking just go to the town on my shit because how much these people inspire me, man. And even my wife inspires the shit out of me, and she's not even a reptile person, but like it's just insane, bro. Like it's the fire that fucking that brings this shit together for me, and it's, I don't know, man.
It's a weird, crazy hobby that makes you really happy to wake up in a fucking redneck town at like 6 a.m. to fucking be happy and ecstatic to go meet up with your friends at like fucking Waffle House and eat really shitty breakfast, and then stand online for a half hour to go to a reptile show where you get to meet the people that you interact with all the time, and you get to see the animals that you fucking dream about on the one chance occasion that they come in, because you're not fucking sitting there browsing ads on the internet. You're fucking walking the tables and seeing this shit firsthand and meeting these people and shaking their hands. Now, like, I honestly, I'm going to be brutally honest, I have not been out since the fucking pandemic, so I've not gone to reptile shows, so I can't even tell you what they're like right now. But I am a firm believer in reptile shows. Like I've lived my life around some of them. Herps reptile shows run by Sean Gray out of Texas. I fucking love that brand, man. He does shows all in the South, and it's such a fucking crazy, cool, family-oriented thing, like with all the vendors that know each other and the fucking people that come see it, and the shows sell out. Like everybody fucking sells out, and everybody's so happy at the end of the day, and they go eat dinner at the end of the fucking day. Like we fucking buy out a restaurant and like just do all this cool shit. Like I feel bad for the people who haven't had that experience. It's fucking fantastic. You walk away at the end of the day with a lot of fucking great booty, like whether it's a snake hook or a fucking actual snake, and then you get to have
everything you're saying, Danny, is almost at any show. Like no matter what, no matter what town, it's the same thing. You eat, you meet up, you wait. It's the vibe.
If you're in there, if you're in that like hardcore, this is what you experience, and like, you know what, like you fucking hang out with these people and you party hard with them, and the next day on fucking Sunday, that show is the best day ever. Because you walk around that show and nobody wants to go home with their shit. So like the people you are hanging out with are fucking basically giving away their shit to you. And it's fucking great. It's such a wonderful fucking connection, It's so true. Like you can't admit it's true. So it's such a great connect. Like it's just such a fucking great vibe, So they're happy because they sold all their shit. They're not coming home with anything. You're coming home with stuff at a discount that you got above the public. And you made lifelong friendships, and you're just looking forward to the next time you have a show like that. And unfortunately, it's a dying thing these days, especially with the pandemic and with people trying to get back on their feet. Not only is it a dying thing because of the pandemic, but it's a dying thing because of the ethics behind it. Like shows are fucked up. Like there are good shows and there are bad shows, and you just got to find the right one.
That's true. I mean, fuck, you nailed it with the ethics part of it because, I mean, it's so true. But I also do think, man, like you said, you know, you have hope. You know, you still have hope in humans and whatnot, right? I also still have hope that the same hope you have in humans, I feel like would hopefully keep that vibe alive when it comes to reptile shows. Hopefully, those kind of humans are able to start that tradition themselves, where they fucking go travel, they link up, and they fucking want to experience the whole scene, what's around that area, meet up at the show. And I feel like a lot of people that I associate myself with and I meet up at shows do that already. I can tell you right now, there's already a good amount of people that I know, everyone I associate myself with are all about that shit, Danny. They all go to the show, same hotel, they go crunch together, fucking some, you know, you know, if you want to talk about Pete Call being a rock star and shit, like that's Miguel Garcia is like that Pete Call. I mean, he's the guy to fucking just go off and do wild ass shit.
It's a culture. It's totally like any other subculture, and if you get into it, it's super rewarding. If you put into it, it's fucking great, and you'll meet lifelong people, man. There are people I've known in this industry for 20-25 years that I fucking love, like absolutely love. And that's what keeps me into it. That's what keeps me from walking away every day from all the bullshit, because there's a lot of bullshit. So yeah.
There is a lot of bullshit, but really, I mean, if you're really, if you know what you're into and you know what you love, like, I mean, there's just definitely ways of just not looking at the bullshit.
Yeah, no, you focus on the good, and that's what you should do. You focus on the good, you focus on the good people, you focus on the good experiences, and you focus on the good animals, and that's a given for sure.
But you think that's why you held off? Like, do you think that's what made you want to fucking just stop? I mean, because think about it. If the wave that you had pre-social media, right? You could have easily taken that into nowadays. Like, you could have definitely been fucking. I mean, like I said, you could have been something big if you wanted to. Like, if you wanted to put yourself out there and stuff. But like,
I could, but I don't have time for that shit, man. Like, there's so many other good things in life. I don't want to fake the funk at this point. You know, there was a point when I needed to do it, and like right now to stay relevant, I don't care. I'm having a good time, and I've made so many fucking great connections throughout the years, with really good people that will always remain no matter what my social media standing is. So if I'm not quite as popular on Instagram or Facebook, I don't care. I can still call up so and so and have the best fucking unique herping experience for that region like ever possible because of my connections. So I'll wallow in that happily. Yeah, it's weird. Like I'm happy to support the positive, and maybe I find less of that in the world, but I'm always there for that. And I'm always there to be supportive for people, but I don't want bullshit. No more bullshit. I'm done.
Damn. My final topic that I want to touch on real quick, Danny, is, you know, the people who are up and coming, the ones who are motivated, the ones that really want to do something with the animals, right? What's a real, like, you know, and some people can't help but to want to be notified. Like, they want the attention. Like, let's be real. Some people, and that's not, you know, that's okay, right? I mean, let's be real. Some people want to be on camera. Some people don't want to be on camera, right? But for the ones that have that dream, right? What would you say? What the most important game plan is to have first and foremost? Like, and destroy it all you want. I don't give a shit. But
my first and foremost bit of advice is that you are absolutely not fucking special in any way, shape, or form. You're not. You're one of a fucking million people a day who decide that they want to start a YouTube channel. So yeah, you need to do better. You need to do better than that. You need to stand out. And the only way you're going to do that is to be you, not what the algorithm wants. And I learned that myself. Like, my channel is like fucking like 12, 13 years old. Yeah, good though. I don't care to follow the algorithm. I never have. My channel has only been about my personal kind of stance and the videos that I wanted to make. And I have no apologies for that. And I think that's what most people should do. But if you're unique enough and important enough where that will happen and boost you, then it'll happen. But you're not special, like, until you prove otherwise. Like, welcome to the club. You've got a fucking million challenges just to beat the algorithms on YouTube. So if you want
Way to go.
yeah, if you want to be special, be special in a genuine way, in a way that nobody else. Like, we're all so fucking uniquely beautiful as people.
We are.
Like, we are. Everybody has something different to offer that nobody else can. And you need to tap into that. You need to tap into your ability to kind of be yourself in a special way. Like, if you want to sit there and fucking baby talk animals in a high-pitched voice, then do it. Just fucking do it. Because there's going to be 100,000 people who are going to identify with that. And there's going to be 300,000 people who don't. But fuck those 100,000 people will end up paying your bills. So, like, whatever, just be yourself. That's all I can recommend. And don't fucking follow the paths. Good Lord. Just please don't follow the fucking, like, the wannabes of like, I'm so excited. This is my new channel, blah, blah. I'm buying 500,000 acres of land and I'm going to create a Noah's Ark. And no. Just fucking take it a day at a time. Make it entertaining. Make it worthwhile. Make it something nobody's ever seen. Man, you guys, look, there's a bunch of these like fucking Florida guys that I just met recently that I know you've had on your show. And like, they're great. They've got fucking all these abilities. They've got all this land. Like, they live in Florida where you can keep anything the fuck you want. They've got money like coming out of their asses, and most of the time they're living like in a garage or in their parents' fucking house. So it's fucking beautiful, and they have these opportunities and they have the chance to make a difference. So please, if you are one of these guys and you know who I'm talking about, just fucking make it different, make it cool, make it matter. And more importantly, don't make it about you. Just make it about the animals and what you can do to make things better for them, because that's like what we need right now. We have so many fucking resources in our hands. It drives me crazy. Like, these motherfuckers will make fucking like $10,000 off of a fucking YouTube video, but you can't donate 2,000 of that to like habitat restoration. Like, it drives me crazy. But anyway, yeah, I've talked to him. I'm way high.
No, you're good, man. This has been an amazing time and definitely round 2 worthy. I mean, like I said, realest shit I've had, Danny. I mean, and you've been watching my podcast. You know how this shit works. You know how we get down at the Trap Talk. And for me to say that this has been the realest shit that I've done, but not only that, I'm talking about like if just being a listener, like just me being a listener, fuck, this was amazing. That's all I got to say.
Sorry, I told you I have a habit of interviewing other people.
It's okay. It was just amazing. It was awesome. Good shit. I do want to say though, before you do head out and whatnot, what do you got to say to everyone who's been watching and listening to you, and more importantly, probably fucking with you? I mean, you've had a couple people who are on the exact same like level as me and being inspired by this shit. So what do you have to say to anyone who supports you out there, Danny?
No, man, we're living in unprecedented times right now. We're living at a time where you could fucking reach the whole entire world out of whatever fucking spare room you've got in your house, right? Like, you don't even have to have anything to show off. Like, that's so fucking great. That's such a gift. You have no idea. Once again, coming from someone who like you had to buy like fucking radio time or TV time from, like, it's such a great gift. So use that time wisely, man. Make a difference. If you have a fucking channel where you have more than 5 people listening to anything you've got to say, you fucking make it a point to make one of those people so inspired that they will never forget you. Where if they ran into you in a room 10 years from now, 20 years from now, they're going to fucking thank you. If you can achieve that in life, you're good. And smoke lots of weed, because it's very, very good for you. Like, you need to understand.
It really is.
Weed is the fucking opening to everything. And I'm so glad New Jersey fucking recently legalize it because it's going to be great and it's going to open up the opportunities for creation and creativity as a whole. So it's fucking great. So yeah, smoke weed, be good. Love your fucking reptiles like nobody else can. Be original as fuck, to the point where people think you're strange. It's okay. Let them fucking think you're strange, because eventually they'll come around. And if 100 of them don't come around, the fucking 5 or 6 of them that do will be like your best friends for life. And lastly, stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
Hydration is important. Exactly.
Oh my god, dude! This has been so legendary. I'm gonna hit you with them. I should have prepared better. I mean, honestly, I should have. I knew who I was gonna interview today. So my hot seat questions, I'm gonna serve them to you. But I feel like I should have came harder. But
no, give me them. I want more. Okay. I want more.
Okay. So before we let my man Danny go, we gotta serve him with the hot seat questions. So hot seat questions, from my man Danny Mendez, and I don't need no explanation. Just shoot them out. You ready, Danny?
Go. Do it.
Right.
Give me your best. I want your fucking deepest, darkest questions right now.
Okay, here we go.
Look, I'm gonna rub my microphone against the beard because I want
Okay. Here we go. Danny Mendes, hot seat questions. Frozen thought or live?
Go.
Frozen thought or live?
Sorry? Frozen thought or live? Oh, frozen thought for sure. There's no reason to feed live. That's just like fucked up and sadistic, and you're a crazy fucker if you want to feed live.
Okay. A cut or no cut?
I don't know what a cut is.
Like day 52 or day 50-ish or whatever, you don't see a pip, so you cut it. Do you cut it or not?
Oh, no. Fuck you cutting fucking crazy motherfuckers. Let nature take its course. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I wouldn't want to be ripped out of my mother's fucking belly before it's time. Like, just seriously, think about that shit. If you're doing your husbandly correctly, your shit will hatch on point. Don't fucking be cutting shit up. That's just fucking Jay Brewer bullshit. Go ahead.
Oh my god, I'm an A cutter, but it's making me laugh so fucking hard.
Yeah, no, A cutters, fuck that shit. You're crazy. Nobody wants to. I don't even want to be fucking woken up before 10 a.m. Why would you cut my egg open? Fuck you.
Oh my god! Hey, some people's cuts are fucking goddamn brutal too. Jesus.
Yeah, fucking. I don't care if you're fucking surgical. Like, fuck you. No. Nah, that's crazy shit. That cutting bullshit. That's like right after where people who like fucking cut their wrists. Now you're all crazy.
Oh my god. Okay. Big flexor or no flexor?
Big what?
Big flexor or no flexor?
I don't know what that means. I'm so old. Fuck.
You're a big flexor. You don't flex at all.
No, I'm a precise flexor. I really flex when I need to the point where it's like, oh, look at that cool little bird with a long tail, and then be like, oh my god, it's a fucking peacock. Like, that's me. So
that's
yeah,
a big flexor though. So you do big flex.
Big flex. I'll big flex. I'll big flex all fucking day.
Oh my god, cool. Hockey or soccer?
Neither one. I don't like sports. Fuck y'all crazy people who watch people play for fucking 90 minutes or 2 minutes. Bro, I can't even watch a fucking porn for 2 minutes. Why would I watch you guys do shit for like 90 minutes or 2 hours? Fuck that shit. I don't fuck y'all, all of y'all. That's like people who watch dog shows. Y'all fucking freaks.
Steak or fish?
What?
Steak or fish?
Steak well done. So fuck you all.
Okay. Van Halen or Sammy Hagar?
Van Halen before Sammy Hagar. David Lee Roth all day long.
Oh, okay. David Lee Roth all day long. Eminem or Machine Gun Kelly?
Eminem. What the fuck is a Machine Gun Kelly? Get the fuck out of here.
All right. West Coast rap or East Coast rap?
East Coast all day long, every fucking day. My God, I'm fucking breaking my studio down in the process. Yeah, no, fuck that. East Coast all day long. Yo, West Coast people, like, you can be angry and shit, but all you got is Compton.
Okay, respect on that. All you got is Compton. Hey,
you have no choice.
What about the Bay Area though, bro? Mac Dre, this is one of the fucking best rappers to ever leave the earth. Come on, you gotta.
All you got is Compton. All you got is Dre. You got Dre all day and Snoop. That's all you fucking got. Come on, man.
Red wine or white wine?
Red, specifically Malbec.
Nice, good choice. Favorite thing to cook?
Who?
Favorite thing to cook?
Tacos, fuck, all kinds of tacos, vegetarian tacos, meaty tacos, sexual tacos, hallucinogenic mushroom tacos. There's so many fucking tacos.
Oh my god. Little word association. First thing to come to mind: milk,
Boobs,
cocoa,
butter,
stuck shed.
my ass. Why are you asking?
I don't know if I can finish these. Okay. Where am I at? Oh my god.
You don't even know.
Crazy. Instagram trolls. I don't even know
Eat
that.
me.
Eat me. Okay. But this is important because I want to know the future relies on this. But if God were to come down right now and say, fuck all you fucking weird fucking social media platforms, I'm taking one. You can only pick one, and that's Instagram or Facebook. Which one would you keep, Instagram or Facebook?
I keep Facebook because that's where all the old people are who have money. So when I need to sell things, I do way better on Facebook than Instagram.
There you have it. Danny Mendez. Boom. All done, my man. This has been an amazing time. Good shit, bro. I appreciate you so much.
I love you, bro. I had the best time ever. It's been so nice to just kind of chill here and bullshit and talk shit. It's been good stuff, man. So thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
We'll talk again soon, and yeah, man, don't worry. I'll be out in your area in no time. And what I was gonna also ask you, and if shows were to finally be up and cracking, and everything seems to be well, will you ever pop your head in any shows again, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think for the right person, there's like a couple of different show promoters out there. There's different levels of show promoters. There's like really good ones and then the really douchey ones. So if I could go through really good ones, and like off the top of my head, I would go with Herps. I think Sean Gray from Herps does a fucking amazing job of the quality of his shows, like the vendor quality and venue and everything like that. He does a great fucking job. So I will always go to a Herp show any opportunity. I love Narbc, of course. Fucking Potter's my boy. I think Potter is a little cavalier right now with everything. So if things got normalized, I would definitely love to get back there for sure. And I think one of my favorite shows going in North America has to be the Canadian Reptile show, CRBE.
CRBC.
Yeah, CRBC. They're just such fucking fun out of the show, like out of the box type of shows.
I can't wait to go to my first CRBC, bro. Like I'm itching. Like I got so many Canadian movies. Like I can't wait.
It's so good, man. The Canadians do things so differently and so good. Like you just, it's a breath of fresh air compared to American shows by far. They used to give us so much freedom, and like the Grant Crossman does things on a big fucking scale. Like he's no joke. Like he's the fucking he's the Don. So when you want to do a show good, Grant is the man to come to. So I would love to get back out there because we've had such a great following of Canadian people as well, Canadian listeners and fans. And oh my God, there's so many like amazingly hot girls that I want to date up there too. So I want to get up there for sure.
Wait, Danny, can you go let people? Are you single? So Danny's single.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% single, and
all right.
it's resulted in me almost getting shot in the last couple of weeks and all that good stuff. So it's been a journey, and it's been fun being single for the first time in forever. But I've been enjoying it, and I love you all.
I love you, man. God bless you, Danny. Thank you so much. Have a good night. We'll be in touch, Danny. Thank you so much.
Thanks, bro. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you everyone for listening. I really appreciate you guys, and make sure you definitely pay attention to good shows like this because there's not many of them.
Respect. I really mean that means a lot to me, Danny. Thank you so much, bro. Well, I'll talk to you soon. Have a good night. Thank you.
All right, man. Take care.
Thank you.
You have to dump me because I'm too high to figure the buttons out.
Yeah, I got you later. Fuck yeah, man. Great episode. Danny Mendez, just shy of 4 hours. Not expected, but I'll take it. This was amazing. This was a beautiful show. Thank you, everyone who tuned in, spending your Thursday evening with me and Danny. and all my trappers. I got to say, man, you guys are all fucking, I appreciate the love and all the support. So like I said, if it's your first time tapping in, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit a like, dislike. I appreciate all the support. If you want to support the channel further than a subscription, all I talk about is my fucking my trap Patreon family, man. I appreciate my Patreon family so much. They know so much of what's going on the back end of things, behind the scenes. So that being said, if you want to know more about the Trap Talk podcast, if you want to see what I have in store, what I have planned, because I have shit planned up the fucking yang, I'm telling you right now. And if you want ins on that and you want to get together every Sunday with the fucking crew of savages who just happen to talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about that's reptile related, man. We learn about shit all the time. I bring people to the, I'll bring people every Sunday, every now and then. Where am I going? Either way, I'm fucking high. But Patreon family, I love you guys. Thank you so much. If you want to join the Patreon family, go down to the link in the description. Go to the link in the description below. Hit that link for the Patreon page. Join us. We're going to be tapping in this Sunday. It's something you don't want to miss. And I got to say, everyone who's a part of that Patreon family, I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. You know what's about to go down with this fucking podcast. And I appreciate you guys for all the support. And like I said, even if you aren't a part of the Patreon family, I still fuck with you hard. I love with you hard. Thank you so much for fucking watching this. I appreciate the views, all that good shit. But you guys have a wonderful night. Make sure you just take care of each other, man. Be a better person. I took so much from this episode. I can't even stop smiling. So have a good night, man.